I like that clip a lot.
Damn, Bex, I didn't know you did acting as well. It's
I,
good.
I
It's good
know,
to
I
see
know.
your
I'm a
early
bit of a
roles.
chameleon.
I
Yeah,
love
I'm
that.
running the show, so that's the clip for when I run the show.
Yeah.
Whitey, your mic is not connected, by the ways, or your cam, so I can't add you to the stream, my friend. Welcome for episode 99 of Mischief Mayhem Movie. Cannoli is being a bundle of sticks, so he had to make a woman take over his show, which is why I'm
Right.
here for the last show of the year. Um, Welcome, everyone. We're doing part two of the extended edition of Return of the King today. I did finally watch all 4.5 hours in preparation for this.
Oh,
There
have
we
you
go.
not
So yeah,
have you
Cannoli
not
has
seen it
shingles, as you
before?
can see. No, well, I've seen just the original, like the standard 3 hours and like 3 hours 30
Yeah,
minute
the
cut.
original release. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've never seen the extended version, and I totally forgot to when we did the first half of this movie. So I was silencio that entire stream. But anyways, we have a panel here. Shield Wall, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great. Sorry for the cough. I somehow I thought I was still muted, um, but it's all
You're
good.
good, bro. Don't even worry about it. There's some AIDS of sorts going around, so totally fair.
Oh, I don't have
Uh
monkeypox like cannoli does,
My
but
gosh.
okay, I got you. Or that there was like that super gonorrhea or something like that or chlamydia that was trending a couple years ago as well.
Oh
yeah,
no.
yeah, don't have that
I don't
either.
know if you
But
guys remember that.
anyway, thanks for having me here. It's a great movie. It's great to be on this panel with such awesome people. And yeah, so we'll be going over the second half of this movie, and hopefully be a good time. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's always great to be here with everybody.
It's absolutely our pleasure. Thank you for being here. Fuck you, Cannoli. Look at all these beautiful people. We also have MVP here, returning. MVP, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing all right, hanging in there. Still figuring out YouTube's policies. So that's been
Bro,
fun.
that's some bullshit that you got demonetized out of nowhere, and it's been over a week now, hasn't it?
Yeah, I created basically for creators, you have two options. You can either make an appeal video or you wait 3 months and then you reapply for
Oh,
monetization after deleting videos that could potentially uh, break those policies. But the
mhm.
thing is, I wouldn't even mind this if they told me what videos to delete or if they
For
told
sure.
me what content breaks their rules, because then I'd just
Mhm.
go in and I'd say, oh, you know what, I know never to do that again, or I know what videos not to make, or I know what videos to delete. But everything is so nebulous, it's just good luck. So unfortunately, I will be leaving a little bit early tonight so that I can kind of figure out, like, I need to do more of my research, and I also need to reach out to the friends that I have to ask
Mhm.
them, and I need to do some more homework on my end tonight. So
I
but I'm
got you, bro.
yeah, but I'm honored to be here, and thank you guys for having me again. The first, like 2 weeks ago when we first did this was amazing, and this second half of this movie is just a masterpiece. So I'm excited to be here.
It's totally our pleasure, man. Thank you for joining us. We also have Oh, whoops, hold on, wrong button. Sorry. We also have sorry. I'm so tired, bro. I'm sorry. We have Lance joining us from the Outcast Creatives. Lancelot, Lansogus. I don't
Yes, I'm
like
here.
Legolas, Lansogus. How are you
This,
tonight,
this is
Lance?
like that scene when Gandalf appears at the end, and you will go Lance, because I haven't been on for quite a while. I'm good actually. Been dancing a lot. Going basically dancing is my gym now, so I'm going dancing every weekend, and I'm dancing like
That
8 hours
sounds so
every
great.
weekend.
Oh
So
my
lost
goodness.
quite a bit of weight. Good
You're
for my
dancing with Jim
confidence.
now.
What?
You're dancing with Jim now?
No, I said dancing is my gym. So when I go clubbing,
He
that's
was
my
making a gay
gym.
joke.
That's my workout. So I dance for 8 hours every time I go. I lose like half a stone every time I go. So pretty
I
soon
would
there'll be
love
nothing of me left.
to. I would
But
love
yeah,
to
I'm
join
good.
you on
I've
the
also
London
had a
rave scene
new
one
book
day.
drop, which Gord King himself purchased. Thank you very much for your support, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. I
Yeah, I
just
did-
recently bought a bedside table where I can put the book I'm going to read before I go to bed. And your book has the honor of being the first one I'm
The
reading.
third stage is to purchase a lamp, and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, the response to the book's been really good. I've got 3 reviews up on Amazon already.
That's
And,
great. We'll
so
have you plug it a little bit later because I know you're also
Sure.
going to be leaving a little bit early this
Yeah,
evening as well.
I mean, it's already 2:15 a.m. here, so my body has limits.
Fair.
But yeah, thank you for letting me come back on because I love this movie and got loads to say about it.
Oh, I know you do, bro. I'm excited to hear what you got. Thank you for being here. And as always, we have our co-hosts. They don't really matter, so I'm not gonna give them a solo layout. How are you, Gord?
I'm fine. How you doing?
No, I feel bad. Hold on, I'll give you a solo still.
That's
Oh,
fine.
look,
I'm
it's me,
hanging in
all
there.
close up and in y'all's faces. But yeah,
I'm a
second
little
half of the movie,
surprised.
love it. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm a little surprised your pumpkin isn't wearing like a ring at all or anything.
He is. You just can't see it.
Yeah, don't ask where that ring's at.
Yeah,
Oh!
exactly.
Whitey, how are you tonight? Oh,
Great.
I'm good.
pumpkin. Yep.
I'm good.
Oh my
How you doing there, Turkey?
oh my goodness! Okay. You took advantage of me right there, man. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Whitey with his backgrounds is like Nas with the weird stuff he says in chat, like the real specific, like really weird kind of stuff he brings up. It's just like those pictures. Like, where would you even get that? Obviously, he made it himself. Yeah, look like this. Like what?
It's
What the
funny
hell
that
is he doing
Waylon
that?
said that, by the way, because near the end of the movie, there is an impressively thickety thick gourd in the back. Not even in the background; it's in the foreground for a couple of seconds. So not bad, not bad.
Chat, thank you for being here. Love y'all. You guys are all great. Waylon, stop stealing my shtick, man. I see you out there trying to quote people. That's my thing, bitch. Oh, thick what? Nadia. Hi, Nadia. I thought you were eating steak. What are you doing here? All right. Anyways, so where we left off last week, so Aragorn, sorry. Aragorn had just gone into what was the cave called?
This is the road, the Demalt Road, I think, is where
Okay,
they
and
just
he
went.
went there to summon basically like a dead army of sorts that still had their
Yeah.
oath tied to the true king
King.
of
Gondor.
Gondor. Thank
Mhm.
you. Okay. So they've just like they forged an alliance because they need help with the battle that is basically right now taking like the siege of Gondor is happening right now, right? The city is called
Yeah.
Gondor, right? Okay,
Mhm.
thank you. Sorry.
Yeah.
These names are all okay.
Well, it's
So
the
they went
Battle
to
of,
go
Battle of
and
Minas Tirith. It's
thank
the
you. So they went to go
Yeah.
and recruit help while the people Theoden, where is Theoden from?
Rohan.
Rohan,
Rohan, thank
and
you.
he has
While the
gathered
people
the Rohirrim.
yes, to go and aid Gondor, right? So they're on the shores here, and they see that there's these like pirate. They're like, "Stay back, bitch! Like I'm gonna slay you." And they give out like that's a great one to stop on. Wow. Hold on,
I'm
Peter, Peter
I'll
Jackson
back to you,
cameo
Lord.
coming up.
Right. Yes. So they're
Hold on.
corsairs who have joined Sauron's Stork forces, and they come from the south, and they're attacking the port.
Oh, okay. So I did know. Okay, so he sends them a warning, right? And the ghouls come out and they take the ship. Who? Sorry, who are the humans? Because I wasn't aware. I didn't recall that there were like human allies to Sauron and
The
the
Haradrim.
orc.
Yeah, there's these
yeah.
Corsairs and the Haradrim.
The
Yeah.
Haradrim. They're the guys with the elephants, the Oliphants, and the men from the south.
The
I
Timothy
think
Oliphants.
in the book, if I remember rightly, the undead only take out these guys. They don't then join the battle of
Yeah,
battle of Jewish.
the funny irony of the Army of the Dead is Peter Jackson actually didn't much like the idea of the Army of the Dead. He only included it because of fans of the books, and yet he had them do quite a bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
Eraserhead
partly
says
he
that-
partly rectified that in the extended
Mhm.
version a little bit, but
Yeah,
yeah, I agree with Eraserhead. They're kind of a bit of a MacGuffin.
they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
They
So,
are a McMuffin.
okay, I'll circle back to that idea later because again, I've read the books in high school, but they were really dry, so I don't remember them at all. But I have
They're very much
questions.
like reading history books. I mean, you almost. I actually think part of what's great about the movies is I think they kind of enhance the books because you have a visual reference you can kind of think about
Yeah.
while you read them. And that helped me go through them a lot because they are very much like reading a history book.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So while that's going down, so Smeagol are leading the hobbitses through this like very narrow passage up in the mountains to get into Mordor a little more secretively. And prior to this, Smeagol had, tossed their bread off and accused Sam of trying to steal the ring, and Frodo unfortunately believed him, and he told Sam to basically fuck off. And poor Sam was crying down the mountainside after that. So they continued on their way. And Smeagol's like, "You just go down here." And Frodo's like, "Bro, this is so dark. I can't see a thing. Are you sure?" And Smeagol's just kind of now ominously sort of echoing sentiments as Frodo walks through here, and he just kind of disappears. And this is great because it's like a moment of realization where he's like, "Oh, I messed up. I should not."
I remember him
trust
calling him bro in this scene.
He did, yeah. He calls Smeagol bro a
Pretty sure he
lot.
didn't say
Yeah.
bro. Go in there. It's all cool, man. pretty sure the script was a little bit more colourful.
It was he either said Gollum or Goyim. I can't remember which.
Oh
No, I
no!
don't
Thank God
think I
Gollum
want
didn't save a hat.
I knew
So,
Max would appreciate that.
So Frodo realizes that he is. Oh, sorry. Were you about to say something there?
I was
Sidwell?
just gonna say you see skeletons. That looks like a chimpanzee skull. It's probably an orc, but
Racist.
yeah. But
Well, orcs are black people, from my
when you
understanding.
see
That's
when you see the skeletons like that, you know something's not right. So,
Yeah, and
yes.
he's like these holes are sticky and stuff like that. and-
yeah.
Like this is very much Peter Jackson getting back to his horror roots. Okay, so this particular scene, now granted, contextually, it doesn't mean this at all, but one of the funniest takes I have ever seen on this scene where he spots the bread and he crushes it. Somebody saw this and they were getting in Sam's head. It's like, I knew I didn't eat that bread. But obviously he's seeing it and he realizes, oh, he Gollum threw this over the ledge.
Yeah, he's been duped.
I remember hearing somebody interpret it that way and it absolutely cracked me up.
So this is clearly some sort of giant spider-like creature that's in here, given all of the webs and everything that's kind of spun up and all that. So I think this was in the second movie where Galadriel gave him this like
First
water
one.
bottle.
First one. It's
first one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she gives them all the gifts at the end, near the end of Fellowship of the Ring. She gives him the light of Elendil.
Elendil,
yeah.
yeah.
Which okay, I remember seeing this like the first few times I watched this, I was curious how he like this incantation he utters to make the light go. And Jay, that quote was absolutely for that reason. But I remember wondering, it's like, how did he know this incantation? But actually in the book, this object it's the magic of it brings that incantation out of him. It doesn't actually even come from him. He just kind of says it spontaneously. So I was like, that's kind of neat. But,
gotcha. Okay.
I
I
might have headcanoned it, but I thought that she told him what to say before he left.
She didn't. She never said it.
She did get into his mind, so that's why. Yeah,
right.
I
They were
could
all
agree with that
lined up,
headcanon.
like before they were getting ready to leave, like to go out of Lothlorien. I thought she like imparted it to them somehow.
Yeah. Oh, so you mean you like thought she probably told him? Which and that's not implausible or anything. But I wondered that, and then when I actually read the book, the way it's described is it just kind of comes out of him almost like it's the natural thing to say.
What is Maglite on in Elvish?
So turns
Man,
out
I
there's a
remember.
giant. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I remember when the spider first appears in the movie. Bearing in mind, I watched this in a cinema with 1,200 people.
Oh.
The gasp in that cinema when everyone, because you can kind of see it, but you can't, and then it moves,
Mhm.
and everybody
I
just
also
went like that. And
for the time too,
'cause-
you didn't get a lot of stuff that looked this good on
Yeah.
the big screen.
I don't know if
Yeah.
there has up to this point been anything that's even matched this. I mean, because it's not just the appearance, because the appearance obviously it has a fantastical aspect beyond its size, but I think what's so creepy about Shelob is the way she moves, because she moves like an actual spider. And they design. I know
Spider,
Peter
yeah.
Jackson is an arachnophobe, so he had this thing designed after spiders that he was genuinely afraid of, and it shows so well. I know this girl I was like really good friends with at the time. She was terrified of spiders. This scene like freaked her out.
Yeah.
Oh, this did for me when I first saw this because I have a
She
bit
wanted
of
to leave.
arachnophobia as
Like she
well.
was like, I don't want to be here. And I was like, I'm pretty sure this scene doesn't go on too long.
And how they do the scare, right here, they don't just do like a jump scare or anything. It's just all of a sudden, it just comes and it happens. And I thought it was well done. And they didn't have to pull like a typical horror movie. It's just
And the music throughout the scene is so creepy. Just the beautiful use of strings and stuff. It's just pure horror.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say too, I think throughout the whole trilogy, honestly, but especially in this third film, the sound design is impeccable. When we get to the Pelennor Fields, we'll see it with the Oliphants. But the sound design here, they created the sound for Shelob with the hissing of an alligator and the screaming of a Tasmanian devil, and they layered them over each other. And that's kind of what you're going to hear whenever you hear Shelob. But just the creativity and the imagination that they brought to this film with their sound design was unbelievable. It's fascinating what they were able to do, but it's pretty cool.
So yeah, Frodo's trying to get out of the tunnel because Smeagol. He's realized now that Smeagol was in fact trying to kill him, and Smeagol has this great little poem that's a little comedic at the end because he tries to rhyme it and he just throws off.
Fakes
He's
out.
like, now you're stuck in her web, and now you'll be eaten instead of dead. That made me laugh out loud.
He's like, Gollum's such a troll.
Right. So Frodo manages to escape through like a little crevice or whatnot, and Smeagol comes out and tries to attack him, and they have this whole little altercation here. And Smeagol just again, he's a bit of a con artist, right? So he's trying to convince young Frodo that like no, he'd never do that, he'd never attack you. And then when Frodo just turns his back, he attacks him, and Frodo just tosses him down an abyss. Real suddenly in this fight. I will say, again, I appreciate these movies for what they were, but it was very nice, because when you see a character death, like a major character death happen in a film or TV show these days, they intentionally really drag it out. And because it had been a while since I'd watched this, I didn't remember if this was the final bit where we saw Smeagol, and we're not given a hint that we'll see him again later on. Like it comes by surprise when we see him later on.
And honestly, if he had died here, it would have been perfectly fine and fitting. It would not have been a bad thing. It's just and granted, if you'd read the books, you do obviously know what's coming after this with him. But if you didn't, then there's nothing unsatisfying about that conclusion for him. It makes it a nice surprise when he comes back and gets his real ending.
Right, exactly. So that's I liked that it happened so suddenly, because I actually was like, I gasped when it happened. So Frodo is being like incredibly weighed down by the power from the ring. I do have a question here. So is it that the ring is just like it is so powerful that it puts a physical toll on you, or is it taking energy from Frodo?
I think the simple answer to that is yes, both ways. It takes a physical toll, it takes a spiritual toll, it even manages to be a genuine weight on the person who wears it. And one of the interesting things about the difference between Frodo's interaction with the ring as opposed to Bilbo's, because people often compare the two, how Bilbo had great resilience against the ring. He was able to live for a long time. He wasn't like overly corrupted. And Frodo has similarly strong resilience, but unlike Bilbo, he is having to wear that thing constantly. And one of the best like physical details they have on Elijah Wood is the makeup around his neck, where it shows just that horrible physical
How the
strain
necklace
going on.
is.
It's like, oh, that looks. It just looks.
Yeah,
gosh, like,
The
that
other
looks
thing is it's
awful.
gaining power the closer it gets to Sauron.
Yeah,
So the closer he's taking, the further he's taking it into Mordor, the heavier it's getting, because it wants to be reunited with Sauron. So it's almost like it's like a ring around your neck that's constantly pulling away from you.
Gotcha.
So
Okay,
yeah,
because
so you've got
I
all
was
that going on.
because the way I was interpreting is, yes, as they get closer, it's like it's evil going home, basically, right? So like a magnet, the attraction is going to get stronger. But I was also just because the hobbits very much come off as very simple, like idyllic, very just like homely, genuine, like pure people. So I imagine because of their, or at least what I was picking up on, because of their nature, the weight of such evil pushes them much further than say, and like it would take more of a toll
They
than say man.
they don't have the same lust for power that men do. They're happy living in their little village with the green dragon, drinking a pipe and smoking a bowl of the weed, and just kind of hanging out and living their lives. They have no desires for conquest, no empire building, no great like
Oh, there's
regional
nothing to
power.
sway them essentially because
Right,
they're not
exactly.
religious.
It's like a big
They're
pumpkin.
right. Yeah, exactly. You know, they don't want, to rule the world or anything. They just want to be left alone in their little idyllic area and just exist. So all
Gotcha.
the stuff that the ring brings is nothing of value to them, that they can't already get without it.
Gotcha. So, as Frodo is trying to, again, he's really struggling and he passes out and he has kind of a premonition of Galadriel, like, only you can do this. And she kind of gives him a hand and smiles very creepily at him.
Yeah, it's very,
And
very
that
creepy.
I only think it looks creepy as a still. I think it's more warm when you see it in motion, but yeah, it's in that
I
still, it's
disagree.
like,
I was creeped out, man. I would not
I
trust
always
that
found it
smile at all.
creepy. Yeah.
she's
She's like
just
a
so-
strange
UFC
lunch
can get
lady
spider
promising you that the really bad pudding's going to taste good,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
But you
Frodo kind of gets like a little re-up there and he continues on his way. And meanwhile, we see the battalions of Rohan kind of convening. Not, I guess they're still on their way to Gondor right now. And
Yeah.
there's this nice little exchange between Eowyn and Mary.
Mary.
Mary sort of admits that he's got a bit of a crush on her here, doesn't he?
Well, I think he's more just, I mean, he tells her that she's fair and everything, but I don't know if he's necessarily saying this as, oh, like, I have a crush on you necessarily. It's more, I think he's just noting that, he's just kind of just, putting, saying the difference between them and what they're fighting for. And, how basically, because he sees, everyone who's kind of around Eowyn long enough realizes how downtrodden she acts, and she's a very sad person. I don't mean that as an insult. She's just as a genuinely sad person, and I think really he's just trying to lift up her spirits. Which
Aragorn
tends
dodged
to
the
also
bullet
be
there.
a constant reaction.
I want
Aragorn
to say
did
something about
dodge it.
this scene, if I may. This is one of the
Sure.
areas where I feel this film screwed up. So,
Okay.
in the book, and this is not a book thing, but in the book, they do keep it a secret that she joins the fight right up until the "I am no man" moment where she takes the helmet off. And I actually think, bearing in mind they don't have that many scenes together when they ride into battle, her and Merry, etc. You could have had this stuff play out, but I don't think we needed to see the bit where she scoops him up and he's like, "Oh yes, milady, I'll keep it quiet." I think if that had been cut and it had just been revealed that she was on the battlefield in that key moment, that could have been really powerful. I think there was an
It could have
opportunity
it could have
to hide
been
Gloucester.
because
Yeah.
I know that's I can't remember the name they have her take on.
Yeah, I mean, in the book, it's suddenly there's this new character, and you don't know it's the
Mhm.
woman until that reveal
Right.
literally occurs.
It's just I feel like this is one of those things where I think Jackson just figured that would be a little bit harder to achieve visually because she does stick out as a woman. I mean, I think you could have done it, but I think he was like, well, we can maybe build moments between her as a character and Mary, and I think he probably just decided that was a little bit more of an attractive option. But I think I don't mind the way they did it, but
no, it's fine. But
I do agree that
think
the
it
moment
worked.
where she reveals herself would have been a far more rousing and powerful moment if it had been kept a secret.
Interesting
Gotcha.
bit of trivia: a huge percentage of the riders of Rohirrim in this sequence, and of course the battle sequence coming up, are actually female riders with fake beards.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Oh, I remember that trivia. Gord, did you remember trivia?
I did.
I've got
Oh,
loads of
yeah.
trivia.
okay, all right.
Right, we'll do that at the
So
end.
they call the horn, and they continue on their way to Gondor. In the meantime, we see that this attack
Grumrak.
on the city. Sorry.
That's the name of the battering ram.
Grand.
Oh,
Yeah,
Gron. Yes.
Grond or Grondrak
Yeah.
or whatever.
So
Yeah.
they're using the wolf's head to smash open the main gate to the city, and what's this
Denethor.
king's name again?
This is
Denethor.
the steward of Gondor, Denethor.
Denethor. So Denethor had like a big scene with his youngest son Faramir earlier on because Boromir died in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. And that was like his pride and joy sort of deal. And he treats Faramir far more inferior, we'll say, to him. So they had an interaction. I was like, Father, if I don't come back, please, warn me or some shit like that. I don't know why I went Asian with that, but it is what it is.
I wondered what accent that was.
I am Denethor of Gondor. Faramir, I will judge you when you come back.
The Federation.
That sounded like a character from a Farrelly Brothers movie.
So Faramir's body is brought back, and Pippin is like, yo, he's alive. He's not dead, because meanwhile the king is just screaming like, oh, both of my sons are gone. My lineage is over. I have nothing left. My city is being overrun as well. I have no faith left anymore.
Yeah,
So
he's
while
completely fallen to despair.
Yes, so while the battle is going on, he's got people like lining up to basically burn his son's body, and what we'll find out later is he's going to Minecraft himself.
Do a little
as
ditty
well.
party.
Yeah. Any
Great
commentary
actor,
on
this guy, by the way.
He is, yes.
Yeah,
very
John Noble
strong.
is. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
he's. I know in the theatrical versions, this is the first movie that you actually see him, and with the extended, you get scenes in the Two Towers with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he for one of the small, I guess. He's kind of the only new main role that emerged in the theatrical cuts for this movie. But yeah, what an impact he makes for this role. He does an excellent job.
He's a very well-known stage actor, and if you've seen him on stage, he's amazing. So
He was
he's
also
putting all that to good use.
What was that show on Fox he was on?
Fraggle
No
Rock.
clue.
No, it was a pretty popular like kind of sci-fi show. What the heck was that called? Oh shoot.
Lost?
No, not Lost. Fringe. That's the one.
Oh,
The one that
Yeah,
showed
he
okay.
was
Fringe.
the
He played.
old boy in that, wasn't he? He was the
Yeah.
scientist guy.
Oh, I didn't know this. He was also Scarecrow in Arkham Knight. That's pretty cool.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
pretty cool. Yeah. So while that's all going down, like again, they're down by the main gate. Gandalf is with them and whatnot, and finally, Grond kind of breaks through this, and he's like, "Don't give in to fear." There's this constant thing. Don't give in to fear. Don't be controlled by your fear. Which I very much like. Just is a nice like kind of red string throughout the entire this one especially this film.
Very
especially.
strong running theme that gets played throughout. Definitely.
It's
Yeah.
incredibly telling, even when Gandalf says, "No matter what comes through that gate, you will stand your ground, you are men of Gondor." And then the first thing that comes through the gate are like 3 armored cave trolls.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, my
And
God.
he has, and I do like that he has that brief look on his face where he falters slightly,
Yes,
but
even
then
he's
charges
like,
in. He's like, "Oh
exact.
crap!"
Mhm.
Because
He's
we
like,
know
"Damn,
how
I
much
just did that."
devastation just one of them could do from the first film, and that's one
Yeah.
without any armor on it. It's not as big as these,
Mhm.
Mm.
so
But
they
it
set
really
that up
is.
pretty well.
Oh, absolutely. It really is pretty cool, though. I do love the Gondorian men here because Gandalf. I mean, because in the context of this, Gondor has been ruled by an old, conniving, malicious, evil man who deems
Mhm.
himself to be good enough to be king, even though he's only a steward. He's
Mhm.
let Gondor fall to ruin. He's let their city be taken, and so Gandalf really has to rouse these men to their former glory.
Yeah.
Gondor used to be the city of kings, and so he's calling upon these men: know who you once were, or who you once were, and who you still are. Know your history and create a legacy that is worthy of one to stand up for. And so I just envision myself being a Gondorian soldier here and being like, oh my God, like we are the upholders of our history here, and we have to fight, right? But it's terrifying to do so at this time because they've been so demoralized for the past however many years with Denethor at the helm.
Mhm.
I mean,
So
really, and it almost like retroactively enhances Boromir's character when you rewatch the first movie, because especially when you get that scene in the Two Towers for the extended edition where they harken back to when he was a military leader there and he was beloved by everyone. When Gondor is very much like a kingdom on the decline. It's really in a state of fear and despair, like when you get there, Asciliath is keeps falling, and they when he's telling them flee for your lives, a lot of them are ready to do it. They have to be roused back into action. It's like, wow, that was easy. It shows the
Mhm.
importance of men like Boromir and how severe a loss that actually was, and shows kind of the burden he carried back in Fellowship of the Ring. He had the weight of this kingdom on his shoulders in a way.
yeah,
Gotcha.
100%.
Do you often imagine yourself as a Gondor warrior, Max?
Rider of Nazgul in my case.
just as often as I think about the Roman Empire. So yes.
He did the meme. He did the meme.
And that's
He
like
said the
20,
thing.
25 times a day or something.
You
Oh,
can't help
easy.
but think about the Roman Empire. Pretty
Well,
much
sure.
everything you do, look at, step on, use, watch, had something that they invented or had a hand in
Yeah.
pushing forward.
So as Frodo finally kind of sees like the path towards Mordor, whatnot, and of course was it Sheila? Not Sheila.
Shelob.
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 Sheila runs the
I know,
confectionery
Ve-
stand in the cinema. Shelob is the
Vex,
actual.
I know the spider's
creature.
black, but come on.
Hey, at least you don't have to say
Easy.
Ungoliant.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Shelob is the offspring of Ungoliant, which Ungoliant is like the most ancient spider in Tolkien's lore. It's actually a pretty important character. But yes, Shelob. This scene is still just absolutely creepy. Just this silent movement, looking like just bearing down on him. I remember seeing this first time. Being like,
How sharp
Oh,
the
yeah.
turn is, and it's so smooth as well that I still
Mhm.
see the environment. I've never seen a movie do it that smoothly.
Yeah.
Sorry, that
It's
that
a
caught my
great,
eye.
yeah, it's a great kind of like perspective shot where it's like it's basically following the movement that Frodo's head would be making. Like, what was that? It's good stuff.
Matt, you're evil. Oh my god, that's terrible. That's terrible. So yeah, Sheila kind of hits him with her stinger,
Stabs him.
and he starts foaming at the mouth, and she kind of just starts wrapping him up like spiders usually do to their prey. Very
thing I
nice
noticed,
perspective shot.
one thing I noticed while she's wrapping him, the effect of the way his body moves as she's turning him is eerily well done. Like his body is very much like it's. I mean, it's when she first starts when his arms are kind of flopping. I'm like, ooh, that looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I wanted to say about Shelob is the one thing that the movie did really well, not just creating it and the movement and everything else. It's really a character. It's not just a spider.
Yes.
There's been spiders in other films like Krull and stuff like that. Okay, cruder animation and whatnot. And we've had a giant spider invasion and various other spider films. Shelob is they really got the character of Shelob. I felt the craftiness of the spider, the way she knocks the light out at one point with the leg, and even when she gets stabbed in the eye by Sam, and and is recoiling and all of that stuff's going on. There's lots of great character stuff with this creature, the way they've created it. It's really, really superb. You feel like this is more than a spider. There's a personality in the animation in this, and that's what I think really, really knocks it above the park of anything that I've seen since in a similar vein.
If you've played the Shadow of War game, she lobs in that, and she actually takes a human form.
It's so cringe.
As
It's
a
so
giant.
cringe.
Yeah.
Does she have like massive titties or something? Or
Yeah, she looks all right, but
They
she
make
has,
her,
like,
they make
yeah.
Shelob hot. It's so
Yeah.
freaking cringe.
Well,
It's so
were you
unnecessary.
tempted? Were you tempted to spin in her web?
oh,
All I know is
thought-
that Shelob here looks like her husband is like Chris Brown recluse. She looks pretty beat up.
Yeah,
what
but
is this?
it was interesting.
Is this supposed to symbolize Vex like snogging Henry Cavill or something? What's going on?
No, the horse doing this to Aragorn is in Two Towers, and I guess it's just Vex like, what are y'all doing for real?
Somebody's
great.
Email that to me, please, my dear. Sorry,
We are
Lance.
good
What
people.
were you saying?
Yeah, please go ahead.
No. I was done with my point. Just also the stab moment. That was another like massive gasp in the cinema. Everyone in unison, almost like a sea of heads, like suddenly jumping up a couple of inches. I never forget
Sam
it.
is just such a freaking Chad in this. He doesn't hesitate. He's just like, come finish it. Yeah, it's like leave him. This is his, Ellen Ripley moment. Let him go, you filth. And it's like this giant spider, and he's this little hobbit. He's like, whatever. Sam is the man.
Bear in mind, he is a gardener, so he's killed a fair few spiders in
That's
the cabbage
true.
patch.
Yeah, that's
You know,
true.
there was one at least the size of his foot, so he's done a few spiders in his time.
Yeah, so remember, so Sam kind of like, he went to go back to find Frodo, even though Frodo was like, you're a bitch and whatnot. So he went in and he found, he finds Frodo kind of with the spider, and he fights off Sheila, and then he finds Frodo kind of wrapped up in the webbing, and he thinks that he is dead because he's not waking up. Poor Sean Astin. I was telling the guys in our MMM chat earlier, I never want to see Sean Astin cry in another movie again. He has spent 3 movies consecutively crying. Like literally, the only time he's not crying is when the first movie starts, the opening, and the last scene. No, sorry, the very last scene at the end of this movie when he's with Rosie, his wife.
There's a bit of trivia about the crying too. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
Yeah. But
So, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. It's just little thing. Like part of what was cool is like Elijah Wood has this known ability to be able to hold his eyes open for very long. So that was cool how they utilized that for that scene. Although the funny thing is he described like being wrapped in that webbing. He was like it's like being wrapped in a giant condom.
Hot.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
So Sam hears some people coming, or not people, sorry. He hears some orcs coming, so he decides to go hide, right? And he feels like a bit of a dunce because by the way, this one orc down here, where is he? Not this guy. I just kept thinking, that's Jimmy Savile. All I
Oh,
could see was
wow.
Jimmy Savile the
Oh my
whole time. he was
gosh.
talking.
Nah, I'm Vex. I'm amazed that you know the physical form of Jimmy Savile so intimately, but that is what he actually looks like in the ground right now. So Vex may have been the only person to have dug up Savile's corpse. Why? Well, we'll question
my
her
I
about
gosh.
that later.
Jimmy Savile is a subject of great interest to me. For some reason, I don't know
Have you
why.
seen
But
Have you seen the Steve Coogan TV drama where he plays him?
I
The three-parter?
did. I think he did a great
That's
job
yeah.
in the role. Like
That's
Steve Coogan, yeah, Steve Coogan was perfect, but I didn't like that it kind of it forgives BBC a little bit or lets
Oh no!
BBC off
It
the
let
hook.
it let the BBC off way too much.
Yeah,
There were higher ups in the BBC that knew exactly what was going on because there was a
exactly. Yeah.
lot of that going on at that time with a lot of people.
I would
and
never have guessed this. We would have gone on ahead of Jimmy Savile
Yeah.
diatribe
Sorry.
on a Lord of the Rings stream.
How did we go down a Jimmy Savile hobbit hole?
Yeah.
Don't blame
Oh.
don't blame the Englishman because Vex was the one who brought it up. So
So yeah, in this whole exchange though with these orcs, we find out that Sheila, her stinger, just paralyzes people for a few hours. It doesn't kill them, and Sam feels
Yeah,
like
bit-
a bit of a
bit
dunce
like Jimmy
because
Savile.
he's like, "How could I do this?" Right? So we flash back to Gondor, where Delathier,
Faramir.
Delathon?
What's
No, the king's
Fair-
name.
Denethor.
The king's
Denethor.
Denethor.
And he's a
Denethor.
steward. He's just a steward.
Bring me wood and oil.
Yes. So Denethor is still off the deep end. He's covered Faramir in oil. He's about to cover himself in some oil too. And Pippin is still just like, bro,
Yeah.
he's not dead. Like, trust me. And so because he's so tiny, just one of the guards just grabs him by the ear.
Are they played by Bill and Ted in the version you watched? The two hobbits, yeah. Bro,
Worth-
like,
Worth noting, so the scene where he's pouring the oil on him had to be done in one take because, okay, it's actually a combination of water and glycerin, and it's
Yeah.
poured all over like his coat and his hair and stuff, so it's basically ruining it. So they had to accomplish that in one take.
Gotcha. Okay. So
Mm.
Pippin decides that, since I can't do anything, I'm going to go get Gandalf because this is ridiculous. This dude's going to burn someone alive right now.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the battle is still raging on. I gotta say, because I watched all of this today. Basically, I watched 1 hour yesterday, but I watched the
Right.
bulk of it today. And in my sleep deprived state, I started bawling my eyes out for the entire Battle of Gondor because it was just so
well
beautiful.
done.
Yeah.
It was
done.
so beautiful.
Mhm.
I kind of wish that they would they probably will real soon, but I would love to see this get released theatrically again because I saw the first two movies in the theater, but I never saw the third one in the theater. So
Wow.
I told you before the stream, I saw the very first screening of this extended edition in the big screen, and people were all dressed up in costumes and shit. It was great, but
I believe it.
it was shown as part of the trilogy. They showed all three extended films together. That was the first time they'd ever been shown, all three together at the cinema, and we were there. It was like, it was amazing.
Wow.
So, lots of wee breaks.
You might be getting your wish soon, Vex. I don't know for sure, but there is a little bit of a rumor thing about a re-release of the trilogy, possibly in January.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's
Yeah,
shown in
I
London.
would love to.
Mhm.
Oh,
Shown in London on a regular basis, at least 2 or 3 times a year. So Vex, I'll get you the dates, and then Gord can get his helicopter, and
Yeah.
I know it's had a few theatrical releases in the last 10 years, but I just can't remember when the last one was. I
Yeah.
can't remember. But yeah, I'd very much because I'm not a hardcore Lord of the Rings fan. Fantasy is generally not my go-to genre, but for what these films are and what they achieve and the cultural impact they have, I very much it's an experience. It's a cinematic experience. There's very few movies that kind of feel that way.
Mhm.
Yeah. So on his way to go and stop Denethor,
Denethor.
thank you. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm enjoying all of these new names.
Oh, you can add it to the long list like Commodus,
Yeah.
or Citadel or
Commodus.
Staddle. There we go.
Yeah.
Donut Thor. Okay, let's go.
No,
Bro.
that's from Avengers Endgame.
So he encounters a. This isn't a Death Eater. It's a.
This is the
This is-
Nazgul. This is the Witch King.
Thank you.
The Witch King.
Witch
The
King
Witch
of
King of
Angmar.
Angmar. Oh, look at that coordination between me and Gord.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
High five, bro.
Heck
Okay.
yeah.
Is that
So
like a
he
shot
has-
of Gandalf getting decapitated? That looks like his head's exploding in this frame.
It's
That's
his
very well done.
wand. It's his staff, actually.
No, I know.
So the guy's like, "Old man, you don't like your death is about to come." Sound sort of deal. Yes, I did just say Death Eater. Come on, tell me they don't look similar. Come on.
I mean, I think the Death Eaters were very
Inspired
much
by this.
inspired by the Ring Wraiths. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
likely.
Honestly, you can see a lot of parallels between Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings just watching these movies.
Yeah.
Oh,
so-
there's a gazillion incarnations of the Ring Race in dozens of other fantasy books way before even the
Mhm.
Harry Potters were written. So
Gotcha,
way,
gotcha.
way before.
So Gandalf is pretty scared because he thinks that he's about to get eaten by this Nazgul and everything, and then the Nazgul's attention gets kind of snapped. What did I say? That's fine. What are
You
you
said
laughing
he's
at?
gonna get eaten.
Yeah, he's gonna get like eaten.
I don't think it's gonna eat him.
Listen, that dragon thing was rearing up to
You know,
eat
that's-
him. I don't-
That's well. The funny thing is because you said the wraith was gonna eat him. I'm like, I'm pretty sure she means the I think it's called a fell beast or something. But it's like I love the idea of the Witch King eating Gandalf. It just created an image in my head, and I was like,
I gotcha,
that'd be kind
I
of great."
Type it into Grok, see what you get.
Ooh, good idea.
So he hears a horn call that someone just imitated, and we see the armies of Rohirrim kind of march up as the sun is rising behind them, which is a very
Oh.
powerful image. Yeah, seriously, I
this
think
is-
Avatar is the only thing that visually has competed with the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Honestly,
Ever.
this scene is like, if I were to make a list of like greatest scenes in the history of cinema, this
Oh,
is
yeah, this
right
is
near
in
the
there.
top. This, I mean,
Yeah.
which this was the actor's idea. You know, hitting the spears with the sword, the way they all chant death, the way just as they start charging, the Howard Shore score kicks in. I mean, this just makes you want to run through a wall. I mean, it is just. I mean, it puts me in tears every time, puts me in good spirits every time. I absolutely adore this scene.
Yep, I totally
Yeah.
agree with you, Gord. This is probably one of my favorite scenes across anything I've ever watched, and this is exactly where I started crying. It's the speech. It's paired with the lighting, that kind of good and evil dynamic that they're trying to play up in the environment. It's the violin theme that starts orchestrating in the background very quietly, like, and then she's
Yeah.
talking to
Or
Mary
building.
here, like, courage for our friends, and I was just like, oh.
And here's the thing, what's so incredible is, okay, so if you read the books and you get to this part of it, like, this is actually the best part of Return of the King to me also, because like you could tell like this moment meant a lot to Tolkien. Like he fashioned the Rohirrim after, like, the Anglo-Saxons and everything. You can tell he takes a lot of inspiration from Beowulf, and they're very clearly inspired a lot by that story. And seeing, like, if you just like read what it says about when he gives the speech and when they first arrive, it's like, it's such a momentous, part of the book. And and you can tell Peter Jackson wanted to absolutely nail this moment, and he did it perfectly. I mean, I would not change a thing about this scene. It's so good.
Yeah.
I remember watching this as a kid in the theater when this had come out, and I had never really seen anything like it. I think I was probably like 8 or 9 at the time, so it's such an impressionable age. But what a way to teach young men, because what is this scene saying, right? Like, looking at it from a bigger picture, these men have been riding for 3 days straight, no sleep, no real rest, honestly, and they've ridden through the night to get here to Gondor's aid. And the thing that they scream is not victory, is not hope, is not any type of optimistic. It's death. I mean, these men know that their sacrifice will hopefully, maybe, equal the saving of Middle Earth. But they know that this sacrifice is part of their duty, not just to their country, to Rohan, but to Middle Earth itself. This ride exemplifies everything good and just and moral and dutiful and honorable. It's everything. Oh gosh, Aomir's shot right here is the coolest thing ever.
As we,
Carl
as,
Urban,
as we
what a-
say
what
in
a
the
Chad.
UK, it's the bollocks. That shot, it's the bollocks.
and also this is such a great culmination of Theoden's arc. Like he really has one of like probably the 2 or 3 best arcs of the entire trilogy. Because it's weird. It kind of harkens back to the Two Towers where Aragorn, where he's telling Aragorn, if this is to be our end, I would have us make such an end to be worthy of remembrance. But he kind of knows, and his entire mood up to this point has been, we're gonna die quickly, horribly. It's like there's very little hope in that moment. It's more out of defiance. Here, it's very much the same sentiment, but it's more about duty and doing the right thing because it is right. And he has a line earlier where they were like, not enough men have come, we can't win, and he says, no, we can't, but we will fight nonetheless. It's just we're going to do it because it's the right thing to do.
Real quick, I totally forgot about this. Waylon Bucephus sent us a $1.99 super chat. Thank you. Max, do you want to read that out for us? All right. Shield Wall, would you like to read that out for us?
Yeah. Tolkien actually didn't like the Roman Empire.
I am totally shocked by that. But thank you so much. I'm going to play you a clip. Let's see. What clip can I play for you? Here we go.
Darling, 'tis the Dandy Fairy, and I'm here to tell you if you're watching this, then you're gay now.
My gosh.
One is sassy, but I still do that. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
I am so sorry. I didn't read that out at first. I stepped away
Yeah,
for
man.
a second to
You inflicted the gay clip on us. What are you doing? Honestly.
Oh, that one was strictly because of me. It's you guys can blame me for that one. I'm sorry.
So, Vex, can I make another point about this scene?
No,
So,
we're moving on.
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, one of the things that people forget is that a lot of us in the 80s who were renting out videos left, right, and center, of course, we got to see Ralph Bakski's half-completed Lord of the Rings, which is, it's quite an effective film with the rotoscoping technique.
I like it, Matt. I like that.
Yeah, I've got a soft spot for it, and the music, Roseman is fantastic. I used to have the double vinyl album, which I stupidly gave away to this girl. Anyway, so of course we had been waiting to see. This is the scene, this is the moment in the book that everyone's always, wow, how's that going to look? How's that going to look on screen? How's someone going to pull that off? And I think not only did it look as good as we imagined it might be, but I think it exceeded everybody's expectations of just how this battle is going to look. And of course, in a minute, we've got the bit with the elephants and all of that stuff to come. But yeah, this was just like, this is like the kickoff point, of all of that coming. And it was just in the cinema, you could just feel it. Everybody was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. It was just incredible experience.
So as the battle is raging on, oh my God, I'm gonna say it wrong again.
Denethor.
I was okay. Denethor.
Denethor's getting it on with the jelly.
Yes, he's pouring the oil all over himself. He still hasn't gotten word that Rohan has come to their aid and whatnot, and he is just kind of ready to call it quits. He's done. He's gonna go with his son. Yeah, and Gandalf is just like, bro, what are you doing? Like, this is insanity. There's a battle going on. The people need you. Your son isn't dead. Cut out this, Piccadilly nonsense, right? So he just like, whatever, bro. And he throws down the fire and it starts burning. Gandalf comes up on the horse and pushes Denethor.
Yeah.
Okay. Denethor out of the way, and Mary goes in and pushes Faramir out. And finally, here he sees like Faramir open his eyes. Hold on.
Yeah, he sees him
Yeah.
open his eyes, and he's like, Faramir.
Yeah, my son.
And you know, it's funny, and so many people have noticed before. So he has to run an insanely long distance to get to the,
Yeah, I was.
the edge
Yeah,
here.
that
I
was
mean,
always my biggest problem.
we're-
It's like,
I don't really have a problem with it because it's like, okay, yes, does it make any logical sense? Of course not. But like, this is to me, this is
Afterwards, zooming out.
Oh,
like,
all
yeah.
I
I
had
can
to
think of
do
it,
was
just-
make
yeah.
the funeral pyre like 10 feet from the edge of this thing.
I don't
And-
think they, but here's I almost like the fact that he did run that far just to get to the edge and jump off. There's something poetic about the entire journey. It's like it's absolutely ridiculous. But you know, if you read the Lord of the Rings and you know Silmarillion and stuff, there are moments like that are kind of like insane like that. You know, I mean, just the idea of Morgoth wielding Grond as a weapon is kind of insane. But it's one of those moments where it's like, yeah, it doesn't really make sense, but
He caught him. He caught a
minute.
minute. He caught a minute edge of that thing. He just didn't. It's like a man with a cart that runs around giving people lifts. So he was the king, so he got on it, and there you go. Just didn't.
So
see
one
that.
thing this battle does, okay, so there's a really solid debate between like this film and Two Towers, which is the better battle, this or Helm's Deep. I tend to lean Helm's Deep overall, but I think what this one is far superior at is just those ebbs and flows and ups and downs of the mood of the battle, because you have the awfulness of the beginning of the battle, and then you have the writers come in and everything gets more hopeful, and it almost looks like they're turning the tide, and like literally before they show up, all the orcs start fleeing, and there's this moment where they're like, they think almost they've won, and they turn, and Theoden sees these enormous beasts, and they've got all these hooks and spikes like attached to them and stuff, and it's just like, oh crap. But he only has a moment to think that way, because he immediately has to, hey, reform the lines. It's like, what other choice do we have? And they just get wrecked. Like I remember being in the theater and my jaw was just dropped. This whole part, I was like, whoa, this is insane.
Yeah.
Not only
I love
it.
Oh,
go
ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, not only like what other choice do we have, but like King Theoden taking his rightful place as like the leader. Like throughout this whole battle, like what is the first? He sees those Oliphants coming, and the first thing he says is reform the line. What an absolute Chad!
Yeah,
I love the way.
I love the. Go ahead.
I just want to say I love the way the elephants are all like really individualized with different types of tribal makeup and ear piercings and all of this kind of stuff, which is really cool.
And this especially, I was like the one's got the chain across its tusk, just mowing it down. This guy's just so freaking into
Mad
it.
Max looking shit here.
Yeah.
I thought that's exactly what I was thinking when I was watching.
Very
this.
much.
He needs a flame guitar, okay?
This actor plays about 4 other parts in the trilogy. He plays about 4 other creatures. Yeah. I think he plays one of the Nazgul, and he plays the Mouth of Sauron and a couple of other things.
No, the Mouth of Sauron's a different guy. The Mouth of Sauron is actually an actor you've probably seen before. If you remember the third Matrix movie, The Train Man, he's in that. He's in
yeah.
He's in
that
Revenge
guy.
of the Sith.
I know that guy plays a couple of other parts in the. Movie.
Isn't he the pilot in Mad Max?
Yes.
Gyrocopter.
Wow.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Oh yeah,
very often
right.
you'll see him under. He very often plays roles where he's like in makeup and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, his name's Bruce something. It's gone from me. Not Forsyth for any British people watching.
When I first saw the elephants and all this stuff, it reminded me of Warhammer Fantasy Battles, because that's like.
Well, they
we're so getting this stream taken down with all these clips we're showing.
I'm trying to keep them short.
They brought these out. Warhammer. Warhammer Lord of the Rings brought out these Oliphant things, and I went to a games convention, and they redid this battle, and they had about 40 of them on the table. It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
How cool.
You see all those arrows.
Probably bought like 747 with as much money as it cost to put all that on the table.
Indeed, some people have more money than sense. Spending
that was
these
a good
hobbies and figures and things. It's terrible.
Look at all the arrows sticking out of that thing. That's insane.
Can I also say that everyone gives Legolas the best kill? They're like, oh my god, he took down a Mumakil, he took down an Oliphant. That's crazy, bro. Éomer is the true alpha male here. He takes out 2 of them with 1 spear. The man.
That's very true. That is very
That's
true.
true,
That
yeah.
is the best overall. That's the best singular kill. I totally
Oh,
agree.
yeah. It's awesome.
Although at the same time, because also Legolas's moment in this like gets a little bit of flack because it's just one of those other rule of cool type moments, and I'm like,
yeah,
rewatching it, I don't think it's as ridiculous as people make it out to be. I think the work they put in to make it look feasible for him to do actually makes it make sense. Like I still think the shield surfboard scene is way more silly. It's still great. I love it, but I don't think the Oliphant one is all that bad. It's like it's done in a way that really the only part of it you could argue is a little silly is him sliding down the trunk at the end of it. All the rest of it, I think he is well earned.
It's one of the few moments of levity in the battle. In fact, I think it's probably the only moment of levity in the battle, and that's not a bad thing.
Right. No, not at all.
I'm fine with it.
Because we've been in this constant state of war and battle for about 30 minutes now. So
yeah.
I was just thinking the Legolas moment because we even Legolas moment. There we go. We don't get to see him like actually have like a proper moment in battle in the first 2 movies compared to this. To see kind of the full breadth of his ability on the battlefield was quite nice. So it looked a little bit goofy because you could really tell the special effects just aren't there for the swinging and the climbing. But I was like, that's kind of cool, kind of fucked up that you can just like 3 arrows in the back of an elephant skull kills it. But still, I'll take it. It was so
well.
Cool.
There actually is a bit of build up to it over the course of movies because he actually has a moment. And they get more extreme over the course of it. So the first movie, he kills the cave troll, and he has a moment where he walks across the chain, and he actually does a similar shot where he hits it in the head. Now that one doesn't kill the cave troll; he kills that with a shot through the mouth. And then the second movie, he has the part where he takes the shield and he surfs down the stairs basically and kills about 3, 4, 5 orcs, something like that. And then this is
okay.
Yeah, so he kind of has like the cool kill moment in each one. It's just this is the one where it's like he's taking out the largest possible foe, and then you get he slides down the trunk, and Gimli's like, still only counts as one.
And he's also one of those consolidated characters, so it's like they're trying to get all the characters that they formed into Legolas in one go. So I can't really blame them.
I gotcha. So, meanwhile, the orc army has kind of progressed to the second major gate, and inside are the remaining Gondor soldiers. And Pippin's just kind of like, I didn't think we'd be here at the end. And him and Gandalf have this really nice exchange.
I love this.
This is my favorite exchange. This is my favorite exchange in the trilogy. Like if the Theoden, if the Ride of the Rohirrim was my favorite moment, this is my favorite.
This
exchange
brings
between
a tear.
two characters.
This brings a tear to my eye every time. It doesn't end here, and it makes me think of every single friend I've lost. This moment in the film. That's the power of this movie. I sort of talk about that in the book, and it really just suddenly I think of all those people, and are they in that place? Are they in that green place, sort of beyond the sea that we can't quite get to, but we know is there? It's powerful, man. Really powerful.
Yeah, and it's so well acted. It's beautifully written dialogue. Like
music.
Gandalf's motive, the music is so nice. The motive for why he's saying this to Pippin, it's so nice and tender. He's trying to instill hope into him again. It's it kind of harkens back to what you were talking about, Vex, about how there's this constant running theme of maintaining hope in the face of despair.
Yeah.
I also think it's really cool that at this time, I mean, how old is Gandalf? You know what I mean? The man is literally like an angel at this point. Like, well, I think wizards do descend from Maiar or something like that in the Tolkien lore. So, like, Gandalf here is thousands of years old or however many years old, and yet he takes the time to
I think the wizards are the Maiar.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I need to.
Oh, and I think they descend from the Valar. I think is, but yeah, they are. Yeah, so they're. Yeah, they they're not as high as the Valar, but they're like the next step down.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, because I knew that they were either descendants or actually that. So that's awesome. But yeah, no, I like the fact that even though this almost kind of angelic being of Gandalf, this man who has lived for thousands of years, has died and then returned at the turn of the tide, takes a brief moment to console his friend. You know, this young, almost like a son to him. Even after he's called him, you know, horrible things and said, "Throw yourself in next time before and rid us of your stupidity." You know, in the first film, and then here we are in the third film, and he is taking the time, even when they're at their wits' end, to say, "No, the journey doesn't end here." You know, it's a really, really cool moment, and I agree with all y'all that it definitely brings a tear to my eye.
Yep. Oh, this movie, man. Okay, so as that is going on, and the door is kind of, they're getting ready for whatever's going to come through that door. Down here, the men of Rohan are just kind of cleaning up as much as they can, and one of the Nazgul, sorry, I was going to call it a
The
Death
Witch
Eater.
King swoops in and
Yeah.
takes out Theoden.
Yeah.
This whole battle sequence is greatly extended in the extended version. There's lots more shots. There's lots more
Yes.
violence.
I noticed that. Yep.
Which is
So
good.
it basically picks him up by his torso, the middle of his torso, and just kind of tosses him aside, and he's essentially paralyzed now.
Yeah, he flings
And
him on the horse, so literally he's rolling, and the horse is rolling on him. I mean, it's a brutal, it's a brutal kill, basically. I mean, he doesn't die immediately, also, but it's rough.
You live by the horse.
Joined him on the battlefield, so she comes up.
She's his
her
niece.
father.
She's his niece, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Check your flow chart.
The flow. Oh gosh. Okay.
Check your character flow chart.
Okay, I will. So she just kind of chops the dragon's head off to try and protect him, and she decides to go head to head with the Nazgul as a result, and he starts swinging around this what is that thing called on
It's a
the
mace.
chain?
It's a mace.
I love the shot when it drops into frame and her eyes just widen.
And the way the music is just, it's subtle, but it's chilling. And it's like, oh crap. And I love like the little backstory behind this, because like the guy who made it, he made it to where he was he made it once, and Peter Jackson was like, I kind of want it to be bigger. And he redid it again, and Peter Jackson's like, no, I need it bigger than that. And he got kind of frustrated, and he made it just the way he described it. He was like, I made it obscenely big after this, and I am lugging it over to Peter, and he's like, you mean like this? And Peter was like, about 50% bigger than that.
What?
And it ends up that freaking huge. And the actor who is underneath the costume, he's the same guy who played like the main Uruk-hai in the first movie. I'm pretty sure he's also the orc in this, with all the stuff caked on his face. He's that guy too. Yeah. But he's a big dude, big strong guy, and he was like, that thing was so hard to wield because it is so freaking heavy. Like I think the actual piece of mace, I mean, granted, it's not like real, metal or anything like that, but it is still, I think he said it's like 50, 60 pounds hanging off that chain. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Lawrence McCaw who plays this part.
Okay. Yeah. So I screenshot this by the way. Are you not entertained? So in the meantime, the ships are arriving on the river. You can see Gondor in the background there, kind of going up in flames, and the elephants and everything. And there's like, about time you guys got here. Get your lazy asses off the boat. And instead, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli pop out, and then the dead army kind of comes in and just goes through everyone. And then back to the Nazgul fight between Éowyn. It finally just kind of grabs her by the throat and is like, "What that throat do?" kind of deal. And there's
what that throat do?
Would you say that she is a throat goat, Vex? Is that what you're trying to say?
I just say,
he's no man.
it made me laugh a little bit because, like, clearly this Nazgul has so much more power than any human could, and he's just like he has her by the neck, and he's clearly not doing much damage. Like, it was just like, oh, it's just you're letting that go so she can
So,
say the line, you know.
well, here's the thing. Little bit of backstory. So, the Witch King, and Gandalf says this in the first half of the movie, where he says it's said that no man can kill him. That's an actual prophecy about the Witch King, is that no man can kill him, and so the way he ends up dying is that a man or a hobbit and a woman ultimately are his undoing. So he even he says to her as he's choking her, "No man can kill me." So yeah, she gets to take off the helmet and say, "I am no man."
Okay, that's fair. Which, by the way, I know a lot of people like use this line as like an instance of, oh, this is how woke too. And it's just like I had no problem with it. It felt a little bit out of place, if anything, but I had no problem with it because she actually has
because
there's a build-up.
Jackson actually let her earn it. He actually
Yeah.
let her earn this moment. She totally earned it.
What do they want it to be changed to? I am a trans man.
I don't know. It's just
It's
a
just
lot
one of
of
those things where people say that if they made this today, everyone would say it's woke. I'm like, no, they
No.
wouldn't, because it's in the story, it's in the book. Nobody would call J.R. Tolkien woke. She earned this moment completely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Now,
was-
oh, go ahead, Max.
Oh no, I was just gonna say there was a couple. There's been a couple videos posted by Lord of the Rings like YouTube creators, and a lot of the videos as of late, because of the current discourse, has been like, there's always been female, strong female women within the Tolkien lore. You guys just don't understand it, or like Elvish women have always been. They did this and they did that, and I think the biggest point of contention that everyone's like, yeah, that's great. Why didn't you do a movie on them? Instead of the no-name,
exactly.
character of like nobody knows her or cares about her, and all we wanted was a Helm Hammerhand, movie. So I think it's just typical gaslighting, exactly the same as this discourse, which is, oh, if this were made today, everyone would call it woke, and it's like,
well, because if it was made today, it would have been all about her. She'd have been in 10 more, 20 more scenes. She'd have told Aragorn how stupid he is, and he needs to do this and do that.
Yes.
And yeah.
It's like you notice, like, part of the reason this totally works, aside from the fact that she earned it, she didn't have to tear any men down to get here.
Right.
And she would have a side shave haircut.
Yeah.
Because that's how she's a powerful woman.
Yeah.
And
she'd be all 4B or whatever that movement is.
Dyed pink, maybe.
And
So
they actually.
Oh,
I'm
go
so
ahead,
sorry, Vex.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Go ahead.
Last
go ahead.
thing, I'll actually just say they actually allow her to be very feminine when she's in the presence of Aragorn. They actually do very well of portraying a good masculine and feminine balance between the two. So that is pretty cool to see both.
And they make it that she can't make good broth, so she's not a woman who can cook.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I can't even get back
Very
in the
important.
kitchen to make a sandwich.
Damn.
Man, Faramir, he loses Osgiliath 3 times. His father hates him, and the woman he's gonna marry can't even freaking cook. This guy just can't catch a break.
Yeah.
They'll have servants. They'll be fine.
Yeah. So in her face-off with the Nazgul, she got the mace to the arm, basically.
It
so
breaks
she's
her
kind of
arm.
Yeah, it breaks her arm, and her stabbing it, I would guess, has a similar effect to when Frodo got stabbed. It's not as bad because she's the one doing the killing, but like the way Mary reacts when he stabs him is, that like it almost like it burns him and everything. So it's like that encounter with a wraith, even on the winning side of it, has a negative
This
effect.
is how I took that, right? Mm-hmm. So he stabs him because he's a hobbit, is why it hurts him. But it doesn't fully hurt him because he's a male hobbit. So he's still a male, right? Even though he's a hobbit. So that's
I was more talking about like the Witch King's effect on Mary, and then secondarily how it affects because Éowyn killing the Witch King, while it kills the Witch King, it has a negative effect on her. It's part of the reason she's unconscious when they find her later on, is because that dark magic is going to affect you badly.
a lot of people don't think about the amount of pressure in pounds hitting all at once, and on a buckler. It's got to be a lot, no matter if you got wood and metal kind of compressed together with some hide. It's still
that mace would have shattered her arm.
right.
Right,
So,
right. And
Before-
in every
before-
version that I've seen it depicted, it does that. In the animated one that where the hobbits are like really short with like curly hair, there's a
Yeah.
Return of the King in that one, and the Witch King, it's a morning star he has, like a ball on the end of a stick with spikes on it, and he hits the shield and just shatters it, breaking her arm. In that one, except in that one, his head is just a crown with like a flame with eyes, so she like cuts through it and then the crown falls off.
I like this depiction way better. That
What were you
the
gonna
black
say?
visage and the crown looks so freaking cool.
I just wish the crown could have been made so that they like popped off, like she decapitated him instead of stabbing him in the face. That would have been.
I think it's good that we got to see the death of Gothmog in the extended version, because that's not in the
Yes.
original release.
No,
Right.
it isn't, and that
the-
sucks.
Well, I
yeah,
think
so
if I remember
it's
the
assumed he's
scenes
run
right-
over in the original release.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
Exactly.
just assumed he's run down by the horses, but
Mhm.
it's better that we see exactly what happens to him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that was good. Good that.
So
Aragorn
yeah,
kinda
we
gets
had
to
that
flip him up.
Legolas. Oh, sorry.
No, that's I'm done.
Oh, okay. We had that Legolas scene with on the elephant, which was it is what it is, right?
Okay.
And so finally, Eowyn has a chance to go to
Theoden.
Theoden. Yes, who is
Yeah.
still alive, and she's like, "I'm gonna save you." Like, and he's just like, "My body is broken. Like, let me join my fathers and those before me," kind of. And he's again he has no fear, even looking death straight in the eye. And instead, all
Yeah.
he just says is, "I just want to see you smile. Just smile."
And he gets and I mean, if you remember, like the beginning of this movie, and they allude to it in the Two Towers, he has this fear that he cannot live up to the kings before him and his ancestry. And here he's like, I go to my fathers now, in whose mighty company I shall not now feel ashamed. And I'm like, it's such a wonderful, and it's totally earned. You totally can see why he would feel this way. It's like he literally can die knowing I did everything I could.
Right.
It's so good.
Yeah,
He's a fantastic character. R.I.P. to the actor, because I know he
Mhm.
passed away recently.
I got to meet him, Bernard Hill. He
Oh,
was
wow.
attached- He was attached to do a film that I was going to direct, to play the
Oh,
dad of
wow.
the main character. And when we got him, we were like so over the moon. I did hear
Man.
he could be quite difficult to work with. Apparently, he could be quite impatient. So not a bad guy, but just he could get quite grumpy on set. That's what I heard. So, but a very very well loved man, very talented actor. But yeah, I was really looking forward to working with him, and unfortunately that didn't happen. So
Oh.
sad. Yeah.
After his tragic passing, you can see the light is shining back on Gondor. The battle is over. You see all the bodies there, and they're walking through the battlefield, just kind of seeing what's going on. Aragorn is talking to the leader of I'm calling them the Dead Army. What is the proper name for them?
I think Army of the Dead Army is. I think we get both.
Release us.
Yes. So just like we held up our end, like release us, and Gimli just like, no, they might be helpful if we need them again. He's like, He's like, your oath has been fulfilled. Go be at peace. And all of these souls finally get to kind of go to heaven, I guess, or hell.
No, they get to go back to the cave.
Wherever the individual is
They
destined.
get
in their cases.
they get turned into the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
They're going back
Yeah.
to the cave for a rave. That's what's happening.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. With all those skulls and everything. Yeah. So Pippin's looking across the battlefield. He finds Mary is. Hold on. Who am I looking at? Pippin. Okay. Pippin is going across. The battlefield, and he finds Mary's cape.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cloak.
and
cloak. Thank you.
the leaf of Lorien, because in the original version this all happens a lot quicker, and he finds him, and it's but
Yes,
in
they
the extended
pace it
version you
out.
can see it takes several hours before he's found.
In the meantime, Éomer has found Éowyn, and she's died. Now, I did have a bit of a problem with this. or not, she's not dead, she's injured, because she seemed to be more or less okay in the scene when Theoden was dying, and then all of a sudden the next scene we see her, she's basically dead or dying.
Well,
And he's
this is
yeah.
what I was talking about earlier. Is like over time, when she killed the Witch King, that it had a negative effect on her because it's that magic. I mean, it has a really bad effect. It affects Frodo the rest of his life.
Yeah.
So I think the idea is it ultimately knocked her out, and when he found her, he thought she was dead. By the way, I think MVP has to leave us.
Oh, okay, no worries, MVP, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you being here, dude. Hopefully we can get you back in the future. Hold on, what am I clicking? Here we go. Do you have anything coming up? Anything you want to shout out? Any general thoughts about the movie? And if you can, maybe do you have a rating for Return of the King?
Oh my gosh. Can I give it the Spinal Tap 11 out of 10? I mean,
Yes, you can. Yes, you
it's
can.
it's just perfection. It's such a great conclusion to the end of such a epic story. But yeah, I mean, thank you guys again for having me. I'm so grateful to know so many people that just hold this series in such high regard and understand how great these themes are and how amazing like storytelling can be, and how influential it can be, how it can really just have such an impact on people. So I always love these streams because I learn something new like every single time, or I see something new every single time. Even like, we were just talking about at the end of the battle here and how Eomer is responding to Eowyn, and it really is such a I mean, when you think about Tolkien writing this, he was probably experiencing a lot of this in World War One, and just the
Mhm.
horrors of death. And for Peter Jackson to portray that in such a way is pretty haunting. But things like that, you see, and you have to recognize just how amazingly talented everyone was, and how much of a lightning in a bottle this whole thing was.
Mm,
But beautifully
100%.
told, yeah, beautifully done, and I'm just grateful to be a part of people who, like I said, who love it as well. So thanks again for having me on. Nothing really coming up in the future. Like I said, I'm still fighting demonetization, so I'll just be going through that for the next few months here, past the holidays, and I'm going to keep all my subscribers and members up to date with everything. But as of right now, they've denied my appeal, and we'll just keep charging forward as
That sucks,
you know.
dude.
Oh, it's
So,
all good, man.
sorry to
I
hear that.
appreciate it. Thank you, though. I do appreciate it. It's the risk that we run here on YouTube. It's just
It's
anytime they can
stupid
just
risk, though. It's like you can do nothing and you'll still get screwed over. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. It's crazy. But that's all. It's all right because, like I said, I still love doing this stuff, and so I appreciate you guys having me on, and it's always a pleasure. But yeah, I look forward to seeing everyone either in the chat or the next time we stream. And if I don't see y'all, have a wonderful Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, dude.
thank
Merry
you.
Christmas,
Merry
man.
Christmas to you as
Thanks.
well.
Thank
Are
you so
you
much.
hold on? Are you still doing your Friday and Sunday streams, even with the whole issue going on, or?
Yes. However, this weekend I'll actually be at the what is it called? It's like the TPUSA event, America Fest. I don't know if anyone's
Oh, I
ever heard of
gotcha.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I know.
I've never been before, but a buddy of mine who is a commentator, he was like, "Dude, you have to go." So I'm gonna try it, and I've been to like hundreds of comic book conventions, so if it's anything like that, it might be fun.
Cool.
Sounds good. Well, have a great weekend then. Thank you again for being here. It's always a pleasure. And just
Uh,
enjoy the rest of your week, buddy.
of course. Thank you so much. Love you guys. We'll talk soon.
Yes, we
Take
will.
All right.
care,
Take
man.
Thanks,
care,
guys.
MVP.
Yep.
Bye.
Later, man.
See you guys.
See
And
ya.
unfortunately, our dearest Lance also has to bounce. Lance, you had a book come
Oh,
out about a week ago.
I did. Hang on, I can share screen with you, and you guys
Yes,
can see it.
please, please.
What I'd actually like to do is I'd like to read out a section of the book to you about Lord of the Rings,
Sure.
because there's a massive section in the book on Lord of the Rings. This is where you can order the book from Amazon. So it's called Silver Screen Journey. So this is my life at the cinema from 1974 until 2024, through 101 plus movies that I've seen. Gord King has already got a copy. I don't know how far he's got, but I do talk about the films. I do kind of review the films. I say if I loved them or whatever. But it's also about the first film I saw with my parents, the first time my grandmother took me to the cinema, the first film I saw with my first girlfriend, the last film I saw with my first girlfriend, the first film I saw with my wife, and so on and so on. So one of the things that Lord of the Rings in particular played a real special role in my life was it became a Christmas event. So every Christmas we would watch Lord of the Rings. We would usually watch the first one, always the extended editions, of course. Watch the first one on sort of Christmas Day evening, and then we would watch the other two on Boxing Day. And I'm just going to the section on Lord of the Rings is massive. In fact, that chapter is called Peter Jackson Sets a Standard or something like that. That is the name of that chapter, because he did. And I talk about the movies and when I saw them at the cinema, and I talk about where I saw them at the cinema. But the end of that section is this. I'll read it to you, so you get a flavour of the kind of personal touch the book. Later, with my then wife, we watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy at our first Christmas together. She'd already seen them in bits, but having grown up in Uganda, the means to watch films from beginning to end in a family house uninterrupted were limited. Alison loved movies, so she needed no convincing to watch the trilogy, and we did that every Christmas up until 2017. My favourite occasions were the Christmas of 2013 and 2014, when we lived in a small flat in Highgate. We had this cosy movie room in our otherwise rather dour abode. It was great to cuddle up with the person you cared about most in the world and watch the best film trilogy ever made. With my dad being Danish, Christmas was always a special time for family, so I continued to celebrate it in much the same way. They were some of the happiest memories of my life. Filmmaker Peter Jackson played an important part in creating those for me, and the incredible people I watched his films with, in turn, made those memories priceless. So that gives you an idea of the tone of the book and how I talk about films and how those films meant how they're attached to certain things in my life. The final bit of that chapter reads as follows. Since 2019, I haven't watched The Lord of the Rings at Christmas. It's not the same on my own. When I find a special someone I can cuddle up with who wants to watch them with me again, I'll put them on. When that happens, it'll be another special memory. So now they mean something different because I'm divorced. So you see how all of these things connect to personal moments. It makes the films even more powerful than when they were when I saw them the first time, because now they've got all these different meanings for me. It's like what I said about the scene with Gandalf in the book. There are various films I saw with various people who are no longer here, and I talk about 4 different people that I've lost, and I lost them all quite young. And that scene in Lord of the Rings makes me think of those 4 people every time I watch it. So, and don't get me wrong, a lot of the memories in the book are really fun and positive and all of this. And I talk about a really wide variety of films. And I was lucky to be at, the very first British screening of Reservoir Dogs, the very first British screening of the second film Tarantino made. God, the title's gone right out of my head. It is 3:30.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction, yeah. So so there's things like that. I talk about when I met Tarantino and how everybody says I look like him, and it's funny that we're both filmmakers, albeit with very different careers. So so there's a lot of fun stuff in there. There's a few personal stories in there that I've never told people before. So putting them in the book was quite cathartic for me. Anyway, so listen, if you can support me, please do. If you get a copy of the book, please send a picture of it. If you don't like having pictures of yourself online, just take a picture of the book with a pumpkin, as some other people have done. But that also works for me. Obviously, Bex, if you could, do a sort of provocative pose with it, that'd be great. Good for book sales. So look to White Bear for inspiration for the kind of photo, and I'm sure you'll come up with something.
Gotcha.
And do leave a review on Amazon. That's absolutely vital. By the way, there's also a London British YouTubers meetup on Friday at the same sports bar that we all met about a year ago with Drinker and Gary and all that. Yeah, we're doing like a UK one, hosted by myself and Tomby. So it's at the same sports bar and grill in Old Street, London. People Google that, they'll find it, no problem. There's also an event for it on Facebook, or you can contact me for the details. My thoughts on this film, by the way, are I give it 10 out of 10. Absolutely. I give all 3 Lord of the Rings films 10 out of 10. It's if it's got a flaw, it's when I was at the cinema, and I was at the opening night, very first screening of it in London, and I was also at the opening, the only screening of the extended version. I was, from what I can recall. When the various endings occurred, it was so funny. It was when that you got that first fade to black on Mount Doom. I swear to you, half the cinema got up. They thought the film was finished. And there were already people like, because don't forget the film was really long, so there were already people like dashing for the toilet. And these are people that hadn't read the book, so they thought, oh, the film's over, okay. And they're all like legging it out, and then suddenly, fade back up. We're in another scene. Oh fuck! Suddenly, there's this massive rush of everybody trying to sit back down and get back into their seats again, and that happened twice because there's these different endings, and you keep thinking, oh yeah, okay, we're about to cut to credits again, and you could tell people were like desperate to go to the toilet at this point because the film had been going on quite a while. So I think it's difficult because they pack a lot in. And you've got to have them return to the Shire. But I don't think they should have done that fade to black on the mountain, because that really did make it seem like the film was ending.
I agree, especially
they actually do, and they do 2 of them actually.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
there's not a lot left of the film. Yeah.
No. So I think.
I mean, I have no issue with all the various endings, but the fade to black thing, it's like, hey, you're tricking your audience there.
And like I said, they succeeded. People were rushing to the toilet. They were like, the audience applauded. They thought the film was done. The applause started, and then it suddenly stopped. Because it was still going. So, but seeing these films, if you didn't see these films live with a real cinema audience, that's the difference. And I talk about this in my book as well, because the book's really about a time that we've lost in terms of the cinema experience. You can only see a film for the first time once, and the first time that I saw these films was the best time possible. Every time, opening night, Odeon Leicester Square, 1,200 people, everybody hanging on the edge of their seats on every moment. That kind of atmosphere, you just don't get that now. And these were the best films for that. And I'll never forget those opening.
Yeah, that electric feeling you get just like getting in line, getting your popcorn and drinks, and everyone, the excitement, and you can see like what. I don't know if they had them in the UK then, but like the big poster cardboard sets where they're, the dioramas and all that.
Standees and
those,
and you get in Leicester Square as well, which is where films premiere in London. So I saw all 3 of these at one of the biggest cinemas. You get massive stills as well, like huge stills mounted on walls, different moments in the films and stuff. And I talk about that. You'll read in the book, when I went to Leicester Square for the first time, the difference from there to my local cinema was massive. Every aspect of the film was better: sound, screen, seats, everything. So I like that poster, Whitey Bear, by the way. Where'd you get that? So listen, thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And I can't do that many of these because of the time difference, but often if I'm working late and I see you guys doing one of my favorite films, I'm always like, no, I should be on this. Lord of the Rings.
It's always an open door for you, Lance. Always an open door for you, because of the time difference. We know that it's So don't ever worry. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I could talk endlessly about these these movies, but they really had a massive impact on my life. And also, when the first one came out, I was really ill, and the wanting to see all 3 films, I swear to you, kept me alive. So that was another thing. I wrote to Peter Jackson personally and thanked him for that. That's why my first novel is dedicated to him, is because of that.
Oh,
So yeah, my first book, if you buy my Diamonds in the Sky book, the sci-fi series I wrote, it's dedicated to him, Fran Walsh, and Philippa Boyens. So yeah. Oh my God, where'd you get that picture? That's my first play. That's me on the left with my huge glasses. That's the cast of my very first play, Waiting for Hillsborough, about the Hillsborough football disaster. That photo is from 1998. Good God.
wow.
Lord of the Rings had not begun filming. Yeah. So
Yeah, it was still in pre-production at that time.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think everybody in that picture is still with us as well. Everyone's
good.
still around. Yeah, which is nice. All right, so listen, I'll let you guys wrap up the movie because there's still a fair bit of it to go.
It's all good.
So-
Lance, sleep well. Have a wonderful rest of the week. You got any stream? Are you streaming tomorrow? The
yes,
roundup.
I've got my final. It's not my final stream, but I'm doing my final Nielsen ratings, and then on the 30th of December, I'm doing my kind of look back on 2024. So I'm going to talk about my 5 favorite TV shows, my 5 favorite movies, a few other things. I think tomorrow we're doing kind of top 5 Christmas films.
Okay.
Obviously, Die Hard will be number 1. Obviously,
Yeah.
Rambo
Yeah.
should be in the top 5 as well.
Yeah.
It takes place during Christmas, so that's a Christmas movie.
yeah. But I mean, but Die Hard has got a Christmas tree, and not only that, the Christmas tree explodes. So you know. And anyway, Bruce Willis's character is secretly Santa Claus. There's a whole subliminal plot. If you look underneath the script, you can find it.
All right.
We'll do a special
Awesome.
on that another time. All right, guys. I'll see you soon. Love you guys, and don't forget, you're
Love you
welcome on my
too,
channel.
Lance.
You're always welcome on my channel anytime. So just let me know.
Appreciate
All
that,
right.
buddy. You take
Later,
care.
Lance.
Waka waka.
Yep.
baby.
Always awesome being on with you, man.
All right. See you soon.
All right. So, Eowyn. Yes. Okay. So she's being nursed back to health, and she's got damage from the Nazgul from her, stabbing him in the face and everything. And Aragorn
Yeah,
is
she got raped in the arm.
You said rake, like the
Rape.
leaf, right? Rake. Yeah.
um,
She's got an
Sorry,
STD in
Jolie.
the arm. I said wraith. Wraith.
It didn't sound like it.
It didn't
It was-
sound at all like it. Nope. So she's not dead, it turns out. She's just ill, and she wakes up and she sees Aragorn, and I was like, man, way to tease the chick that's clearly in love with you, has basically confessed her love, and you're here when she wakes up. I was just like, that's kind of a dick move, just saying.
The best part of waking up is seeing the guy that's not gonna bang you.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I did find like this whole like her waking up and all this stuff kind of useless. Like even the little moment she has with Faramir here, like I know that they kind of end up together, but I didn't think even in the extended cut it wasn't necessary to see.
Yeah, this is something they added specifically for the extended cut. It's basically fan service to kind of help because there is a little bit more to this whole thing, and putting Faramir and her together. And I mean, the whole point with Aragorn healing her is like, I think the chapter's literally called "The Healing Hands," and it's basically attributing to Aragorn a quality similar to Christ, that he is able to heal. He actually has kind of the ability to heal.
Sorry, 1 second. I gotta get food for my cat, so I keep going.
Okay. But yeah, this little scene they have going with her and Faramir, it's kind of fan servicey. I don't mind it because but it doesn't fully flesh anything out. It just gives I guess the ladies something to swoon over. I kind of wonder if maybe Peter Jackson was hearing some of the reactions about Faramir, because I know a lot of women were fawning over
There's a lot of
Faramir.
thirst for him.
I don't know. I was really fine with it because you got Chick over there like my dad got killed by a horse, and then you got Dave Mustaine over here like I saw my dad get turned into Burning Man, and I don't know. For me, I was fine with it.
I don't mind it or anything.
Who was like, I feel bad for both of these losers and all that, and if they can get together after both seeing their daddy get killed, then that's good, Yeah,
I like the intent behind it as far as Eowyn's characters, because she has been this character with a lot of sadness throughout her life, and she just went through probably the saddest moment where she had to watch her uncle, who she dearly loved, die, and this time couldn't save him, and so this gives her a little bit of hope. But it's done in such a way to where you can tell it's very much fan service.
I gotcha. All right, so back to the battlefield. Now it's nighttime, and Pippin is still looking for Merry. Like, he's convinced he can find him, and he finds him underneath an orc body. And there's just like a nice little touching moment. That's all. So they're reunited finally.
Yeah.
Back in Mordor, so Frodo has been stripped naked and is about to become a sex puppet for a bunch of orcs. And he wakes up finally after Sheila's venom or whatever has worn off. And in the background, you can see Jimmy Savile and his friends going through all of his things and trying to figure out what they want to keep and all that.
I hear there's this new thing called arm wraithing.
Ah, there you go.
Back on the menu, boys.
Right.
Oh my god.
So they what is it? So Sam is also on his way here too, because again,
like basically like what happens here is when they're going through Frodo's belongings and they find the Mithril shirt, and Jimmy Savile and one of the big Uruk-hai, and now I'm calling him that, they start fighting over it, and he basically drop kicks one, like he ends up falling down amongst a bunch of them after killing one of them, and he gets knocked down there, and then the Uruk-hai, he's like that scum tried to knife me, kill him, and it's basically there's some infighting between them.
Right. They fight. They all fight each other to the point where there's only a few left, which makes it convenient for Sam to actually make his way through.
Okay, this explains it, because I was wondering, like, oh, so a bunch of orcs are just like literally living in a palace of like dead bodies. That's kind of weird, but okay, that explains it.
Although, if we go by the awesome video game canon, Sam basically kills like 1,000 of these things to get to Frodo, which that Lord of the Rings video game is like one of the best movie tie-in video games ever made. It was so awesome at its time.
Which one is it? The
Return of the EA Return of the King one. It's oddly enough that great 2 games we got from EA, Two Towers and Return of the King. Yeah, you play as Sam and you kill like 1,000 of these things. It's awesome.
But see, so it's the power of the ring now. At least in the animated version, it's around his neck on the chain, and he grabs it, and he starts to actually get these grandiose ideas, like I can be the leader of the Shire, and I'll be, and he's on a war pony and all this stuff in his mind. And while that's happening, the orcs are seeing that emit out of him, and they become scared and start running back up the stairs. And this is where he goes up, basically kills a few of them.
Oh no, and with you calling him Jimmy Savile, he's saying he's gonna stick you, and he's like, not if I stick you first.
Yeah, he's like, taste my old gaffer.
So Sam takes on like 3 Sam takes on 3 orcs kind of in the hallway, and he just full on takes them on, no fear whatsoever, and he rescues Frodo. And Frodo's like, bro, what were you doing here? Like, they took the ring, Sam. And Sam's like, they didn't take the ring. Like, when they found you, like, I took it for safekeeping, because he knows it doesn't need to be in the wrong hands. And Frodo like looks at him like with a bit of a queer eye, being like, how could you do that? Because he's again, like the ring is doing its own thing to him.
Well, there's this great duality with both characters here, because and I love the way this is acted and portrayed. So Sam has this dual thing going on with him where he's reluctant for 2 reasons. One, because the ring is working on him, but at the same time, he sees the lust in Frodo's eyes, and it makes him reluctant. He hates having to do this to his friend Frodo simultaneously, obviously, he does lust after the ring now because I mean he's so attached to it, but also he genuinely does not want it to take Sam.
Yeah.
So, and I think they play with that really well with the acting and the dialogue.
Okay.
Well,
So
I'm just
Frodo knows that, and also it's his responsibility to carry the ring,
Yeah.
and he's very cognizant of that, and he
Mhm.
doesn't want to put that burden on Sam.
just wonder how
But
they
he
fit
does
something
agree
over.
to let him carry it for a little while longer. So they
Okay.
basically share the burden.
So they decide to both dress up in some orc armor to try and make their way through because they see all of these armies here. It's like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? So they decide to disguise themselves as why are we not? Oh, some orcs. In the meantime, everyone else has convened within a now saved Gondor, and they're recognizing that Gandalf can't see Frodo anymore. Like Frodo's gone too far past his vision to keep an eye on him, so that means he's still alive and in there, and whatever. But they're also just like, can he do it? Because all of these orcs are in there. Like, what chance does he really have? And
Mhm.
Aragorn kind of says for a moment, we've basically led this poor little hobbit to his death at this point. So instead, he's just like, okay, how about we create a distraction? Because I know that Sauron wants me as the rightful ruler of, was it Gondor? Yeah.
Yeah, because he's basically carrying the sword of Isildur, which cut off his hand. So, and Sauron has had, like Aragorn brings this up because you've hunted me for a long time. Because Sauron wanted to eradicate his line because he fears that line.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So Aragorn's using himself to draw Sauron's forces out.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So he what is it? What is this? It's not the Eye of Sauron. It's something else. What is this ball
No,
called?
these are called the the
Palantirs.
Palantir.
Yeah.
The Palantir.
Yeah, the Palantir. Yeah.
Okay.
There used to be a really big one in Osgiliath that it straddled a bridge on a river, and it was like the main one, and they used them to communicate. But that one, when the city got attacked, it fell into the river, like
Mhm.
collapsed to the bottom of it.
It was
Gotcha.
like medieval Skype or some shit.
Right. Yeah. Basically. And that's just it. Is that it's two-way. So
It's
and-
two-way, and it always what's the interesting thing about the Palantir is it's almost kind of a device of half-truth. Like it gives you information that is true, but not all of the context. Like there's a deceptive
right. So
quality
it's
to the Palantir.
yeah, it's like legacy media.
Yeah, basically, kind of is. So it's like you're always seeing something, but it's presented in such a way so where you're not getting all of your information. They're interesting devices.
But the reason they're dangerous is they're not all accounted for. So
Mhm.
if you have one, it's possible Sauron has one, then he can see everything that you're doing if you have it out, which is why they always got cloth over it.
Yeah.
And it's all wrapped up.
Is this true? I love how Rings
Yes.
of Power looked at the Palantir and went, it looks like a crystal ball, so it must be a crystal ball.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Dang.
Screw that stupid show.
Dang.
Mhm.
All right. So in the ball though, as he's like saying, like, look, you want me? Like, come, I'm coming for you. Like, be prepared. And Sauron shows back like a dead what's her face?
He's showing him that Elrond brought this up when he gave him the sword that Arwen's dying and her fate's tied to the ring. So Sauron is showing him that she's ill, basically. But again, he's not seeing it in its full context, so it looks more like she's dead. Yeah.
What's her name again?
Arwen.
Arwen. Oh my god. Arwen, Eowyn. Good lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eowyn, Hard Arwen. We can call her
Also,
that.
good acting on Viggo Mortensen's part once again. Just him looking freaking distraught back there.
Yeah.
Fair
Now
me
this scene
decides-
between them,
oh,
I do like this scene between them. Like,
bro,
I
they
think-
just met, and he's like, "Listen, I got you cornered now. There's no men left in your life. The dude you want
hey,
is
world's
gone."
coming to an end. It's like, hey, you don't want to die a virgin, right?
He just takes her hand, and she's like, "Cool, let's do it. Let's do it."
She's
It's,
like,
I
I
don't
need
know.
to distract myself from Aragorn. That's what's going on.
I'm
I
to
guess.
Faramir and I.
Just tell me one more time. How many times did you lose Osgiliath?
Yeah.
But seriously, it's like these are two people from I guess somewhat royal bloodlines. It makes sense anyways, rather than them having to be matched together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Should make
It
a
does.
meme
It's
of
not that
that.
it doesn't. Yeah, it's not that it doesn't make sense. It's just like feels a bit awkward and choppy.
Yeah, it's a fast courtship, and it's honestly that's kind of how it goes in the book. Their courtship in that is quite
She
quick.
would have sucked Aragorn's left palantir if he had allowed it on day one. So I don't see any difference here.
Okay. Oh, whoops. So
Fine,
in the meantime, what are their faces? Sam and Frodo, still disguised. The armies are marching out now that Aragorn has put out the call, and that they are going to the gates of Mordor now to confront Sauron's army. So they decide to, and this is all to distract the eye, so that Frodo has a much easier time
Right.
getting to the
Right.
volcano.
I will be on the army and not on them. And coincidentally, in the cartoon, when they're the cartoon version, when they're disguised as orcs, there's a really cool song that the orcs sing, because the cartoon's kind of like a little bit like a musical,
Okay.
in a way. Yeah. But
Oh. In the book, he's basically like, "You looked hot like while you were sleeping. Do you love me?" Dang.
yeah, exactly.
So it's like Twilight.
Yep, exactly.
Dang. So the army, it's like some of these guys are starting to pick up that there's like two people that might not be orcs in this army. So they put up a little fighting ruse to try and distract all of them, and they sneak off successfully so that they may continue their journey to the fires of Mordor. I like this shot quite a bit. This was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just
So we see them just.
I
Go ahead.
love this slow the slow walks, the slow crawls, that they're just the closer they get, it's just like the energy is just draining from them. And because this happens in real life, you get near the end of a difficult task, or in their case a long journey, and there's that part of you that almost you always go through where it's like, can I actually get to the end of this? Because like this is where you're almost wanting to give it. It's almost like, I've made it this far. Do I really have to finish this? And it's just they're progressively getting more and more exhausted. They don't have food. They don't have water. It's draining them. My gosh.
So they ditched all of their like extra armor and stuff because they're just like, we might as well just make this journey as easy as we can and just take what we absolutely need, right? Because Frodo he's struggling real hard, right? In the meantime, we have hold on, what is this? Hold on, there's like a 10-second. Okay. Oh, here's the army just getting ready to march up to the doors. Frodo's like all thirsty, and Sam gives him the rest of his water instead. And Frodo's just like, but Sam, there won't be enough for the return journey. And throughout all three of the movies, and for the bulk of this movie, they were always preparing for the way back home. Finally, Sam is just like, listen, I don't think there's going to be a return home. But he's not saying it in a bad way. He kind of the infliction he uses is that like, this is our job, this is what we are meant to do, and it doesn't seem like a bad thing if we don't make it back, because we
it's the same. Yeah, it's the same. Sorry about that. It's the same tone of that Theoden had earlier, where he's like, no, we can't win, but we'll fight nonetheless. I mean, Sam's like, it's they bring pretty much all of these characters to the brink of defeat, to where it's like defeat seems assured, but it's like, but we're going to do this anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's something poignant about knowing that, you told yourself everything will be fine or whatever, but now you're in a situation where you realize that it's most likely a one-way trip. And I think after you reach that point, it kind of gives you a resolve that maybe you didn't have before. Like, you're not worried about what's going to happen after you get the ring to the fire. So that's what you focus on, and you worry about the other stuff later. And it puts you like in a mental headspace that allows you to keep going to that point.
It's like, listen, Mr. Frodo, I'm running out of hopeful speeches.
Right. But I think this is when, I mean, I don't know if Frodo always figured it was a one-way trip, but Sam never did up to this point. But now he recognizes the full magnitude of the sacrifice that they're going to have to make.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So because the ring is taking all of his power, like the eye, we get a good like instance where we see what it's like when the eye focuses in, and there's just I don't know. The scene felt a little bit like goofy, but I understand that his purpose was to show just how truly kind of weak and out of his element Frodo is, and
Well,
also
no,
to
the eye
kind of
is like literally they have to drop because it's searching I
yeah.
mean, they're basically completely exposed, so the eye is searching. So he's like, get down. This thing's looking at us. So this is kind of the last moment of where they're hiding before Sauron gets distracted. I mean, granted, it does feature probably the best of Frodo's falls, which you can
Yeah.
literally find compilations on YouTube of how many times Frodo falls down, and this is probably the best one.
Mhm.
You're
But
talking about the Frodo flop.
yeah, like it's like LeBron James-esque. It's such a good flop. But yeah, it's it
So
is one of those kind of exhausted looking, somewhat dramatic looking, but I'm
Mhm.
fine with it.
Mhm. So the 7 of these guys decide to approach the gates of Mordor because they haven't opened, and they're just like, they know that we're here. So they go and approach the gate, and this one dude comes out with a great absolute mouth, gorgeous mouth on him. I I could tell that there was some special effects to the lip movement, but it was so smooth that I was very impressed for the time that this
Yeah,
was.
this is gnarly looking. This
Yeah,
is
this is
creepy.
great, and I don't remember this scene being in the
It is
original
not
cut
in
of the
the.
movie.
It's not. So Jackson originally cut this scene because okay, so there's the part. All right, so this scene obviously this is in the book, but the way it's done in the book is you get to this point in Aragorn and Gandalf and all of the other ones' story, and he holds up the mithril shirt like they've been captured, and they're like it gives you this impression they might be dead. And then you cut to several, days or weeks back to Frodo and Sam's journey, and it leads you on to that point because you're just like, are they going to die? Well, in the movie, obviously, the way they're intercutting between the two parties, so they're not dead. So Jackson thought, well, it's there's no real drama regarding this because we know he's alive and everything, but so that's why he cut it out. But the thing that's fascinating about these movies is, to me, it's like it doesn't necessarily matter that we know they're alive. I really love the various moments where the characters think something where we know the opposite is true, and there's a couple of those in this. I find this scene still highly effective despite the fact that we know Frodo and Sam are alive.
Right, because you have to put it in the mind frame of that they don't know, so then you can experience what they might be feeling emotionally and logically by putting yourself in those characters' frame of mind, right? So most people can do that, so it doesn't. I don't think it like takes anything away.
No,
by
and
showing-
it highlights like this. We've been talking about this ongoing theme of hope in the face of despair. This is kind of that last moment of that, verbalized, because when he's saying that, he cuts the mouth of Sauron's head off, and he says, he goes, I don't believe him. I will not. He's like, basically, it's like we can't operate as though this is true. It's like we don't have a choice right now. We have to fight on the presumption that he's still alive. Basically, it's like he's fully become king in this moment. He's like, we have to fight regardless. So I cannot let my people lose hope here.
What I mean, I have some small problems with the movie as far as technical stuff, like the trebuchets loading those giant pieces of rubble. Like, how'd they get them in?
Oh yeah,
and stuff like that. But also this one, like, why didn't the army just march into the gate so they're not completely surrounded by the enemy? Like, this made no sense to me. But I get that it's for theatrical effect and whatever. Interestingly enough, where they filmed that location is a New Zealand Army munitions testing ground.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's why it looks all barren like that. And
they do a lot of searching and cleanup of undetonated like ammunition and grenades and stuff like that. And also in the Charge of the Rohirrim, by the way, they had to do a lot of spot checking for rabbit holes, so the horses wouldn't step into a rabbit hole during the charge and break their legs.
And the other thing was is because it was on like a military installation, they used a lot of soldiers, like actual volunteer soldiers, for the extras.
Mhm.
Well, those guys were going pretty hard when they were like, okay, go in and fight. They were like really doing it. And they were
Mhm.
breaking all the equipment and breaking dudes' arms and stuff. So they had to have this colonel come in and tell them to cool it down. And and the thing that I saw, Peter Jackson and all the people liked that because they were able to just be like, we want 10 guys over here. Boom, it's done. There was no like messing around. You know,
Yeah.
the guy came out and yelled at everybody and they all went and did what they were supposed to do. So they got the shoot done a lot easier. Although it broke a lot of their equipment though, like the swords and armor and stuff, because the guys were just going nuts with it.
Yeah.
Well, good news is that I found Frodo Falls to Mozart. So that's pretty freaking awesome.
Nice, nice. So while the confrontation or that little battle is going down, Frodo is just like he's finding it very hard to continue on. So there's this touching moment where Sam sees a star poking through and he's look, there's light, there's good things in this earth that even the darkness can't touch. And he starts trying to remind Frodo of like, you remember, spring's coming to the Shire. The fresh strawberries are going to be growing in soon. The barley is going to be coming in the field. And he's just like, Sam, I don't remember. I don't know what the taste of food is like. I don't remember what water sounds like. All I see is darkness. All I see is this dark entity coming for me. And Frodo's just kind of like, you know what? You may be a bitch and you might be falling here, but I can carry you. So he decides to carry Sam up this mountain in the face of a volcano. And is that just true testament of friendship and love I quite enjoyed.
It's one
And
of the best emotional payoffs. Yeah, it's
Yes.
you can go to YouTube and specifically find videos of people reacting to that moment, and it's tears across the board.
So the battle finally commences after Aragorn's very powerful speech, and it kind of just cuts back to them, and we see he's like, Mr. Frodo, look, there's a door. And as they're about to, approach the door, Smeagol comes out of nowhere and starts attacking Frodo. And Frodo's like, you promised on the precious, Smeagol promised. And he's like, Smeagol lied.
That was added for the extended cut. I probably would have kept that out. I found that exchange a little hammy. I preferred the theatrical version without that, where he just attacks him, and I just like the scuffle without too much dialogue.
On this episode of Forged in Fire.
The fight is still going on, and Gandalf sees a moth fly in, and Pippin's just like, eagle! Scrubs reference, if anyone.
It's America!
Right. The
America's
eagles are
coming!
here. Yeah. So I actually, because I remember, or at least I still think there was a debate of, if the eagles exist, why didn't Gandalf just summon them to take Frodo to the thing? And so I read up on it, and apparently in the books, it's explained that they can't be tamed. So they're a wild card. They tend to be very defensive and aggressive on top of that. So you can't really trust them. And they're also considered, they're representative of something. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, and they're also, their attitude is mirrored in a way by the Ents, who for a while did not want to get involved, but also just on a mechanical level, the idea that the eagles could just swoop in and then it'd be really easy. It's like, no, that part of they're effective here because there is a battle going. There's chaos everywhere. Eagles could very easily get killed just trying to swoop in. There's such a thing as arrows and catapults and stuff like that. It would not be this easy venture. You could just, let's fly over the mountain, drop the ring. No big deal.
There's only so many of them. You think they're going to, miss out on, being able to, bang other eagle chicks. Just get, arrowed in the face.
But you're right about that, though, Gord. You could literally give it to the eagle without anybody and just have it fly over and drop it in there.
They wouldn't shoot that thing down or nothing.
I'm just saying, but imagine if it's like nighttime and you can see the fire and it doesn't. You just fly over and drop it in. Game over.
Although, if the eagle had the ring hooked in his talon, would he disappear? And would Sauron see him?
I think the eagle would suddenly feel emboldened and he'd be like, you know what? Fuck these guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a song called Hotel California, and then it's all over. You lose.
So they find while the scuffle happens, Frodo finally gets like a bit of a wake up there, and he goes to drop the ring, and Sam's just like, "Bro, what are you waiting for? Just do it, just do it." And he looks at the ring. He's like, "I can't. It's mine." He kind of falls to the power of the ring.
The way the music erupts here is it's so like just there's so many excellent moments of Howard Shore's composition, and it's debatable which one's the best, but this is like top 5 for me from the trilogy. I adore the music for this. I mean, and not just this moment, the way it carries over to his scuffle with Smeagol, and when Smeagol actually retrieves the ring, there's just the woman harmonizing and stuff. But I absolutely love the way the music kicks in here. It's so good.
I like.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
At that moment when he's getting ready to he's like, "It's mine." Like, how messed up would it have been if Sam was like, "I can't let this go on," and he just pushes Frodo.
Oh yeah, just freaking drop kick him off the cliff.
This is Mordor.
He's like, "Sorry, friend," and pushes him. Like how tragic that would be. They went through all of this to get to the very end, and Sam has to be the one to take care of business. You know what I mean? And make that ultimate sacrifice of his friend, just to get rid of the ring.
Yeah.
But obviously that doesn't go that way.
So, Smeagol he didn't, he's still alive after the scuffle. He knocks Sam out with a rock, and he sees like the perspiration in the footprints, which was a great special effect as well. And he realizes that Frodo is wearing the ring, so he attacks an invisible Frodo, figures out which one is hit, and he bites off the finger that has the ring. This felt like a little bit of a oh, that's convenient that you knew which finger it was, even invisible, but all right.
I think because he had so much connection to the ring, he could kind of sense it.
Yeah, I think, he definitely has a connection to it, but honestly, if you're fighting something, he could have you can just think of it as this way. It's like he knows it's going to be on his hand, and he just kind of has to feel around.
Right.
And once he gets to the hand, I mean, if you just clasp it around someone's fist, you're going to feel what finger it's on.
Yeah,
it's really not
exactly.
all that far.
Yeah. You know how you can just kind of feel in the dark,
Okay. So Smeagol finally has the ring. The battle, again, it's cutting back and forth because this battle is kind of contingent on whether the ring finally falls into the fire, right? So Frodo, still under that spell of the ring, attacks Smeagol here, and this is kind of a bit of a callback to the scene in the beginning of this film where we see a Smeagol fighting his best friend over the ring, which I thought was really a nice little kind of connection there.
And it's an example of this is one of the improvements over the book, because in the book, really, Gollum he kind of dances joyfully and falls.
Right.
So it's not done in the spirit of it's not done in the heat of a fight. Yeah. This this is definitely a moment that I think is far better in the film, because this part of what makes this so poignant is Frodo literally has to choose to live here. I think him going over the edge was a great choice. And if you watch the special features, they talked a lot about how that was creatively a decision they had to come to. It's like we do want him to go over the edge, and not just be that where Gollum just dances and falls off. So I think that was a great addition by Jackson.
Right. It's a good Terminator 2 moment.
Who do you think did the lava better, this or Temple of Doom?
Definitely this.
Yeah. Definitely this. So Frodo, you can see there's a bit of indecisiveness in his face, kind of is this do I deserve to go on? But also, the ring is down there. Let me go get the ring, dude. But he finally grabs Sam's hand and he pulls him up. And at this moment, the eye, because oh god, this was a beautiful shot as well.
Oh yeah.
Because the ring has finally melted in the fires of Mordor, Sauron has no power left. So the eye kind of it implodes and collapses on itself. This was also, again, for the time, the fact that I can see every rock crumbling in this is just insanely impressive.
Yeah, this is a glorious looking effect, and
falling,
it's such a such a compliment to the storytelling that this villainous entity, which is basically just an eyeball on fire, that its death is just so satisfying. I mean, it's and not just visually, but it's just wow, the defeat of evil here. You really feel it in this moment, and it's so well done. It's so well done. Even bursts in the shape of a ring.
Yeah, and that
Yep.
shockwave is
Yeah.
reminiscent of the shockwave from the first movie when Sora
Yep.
dies. Look how it goes through everybody and knocks them all down, which I really loved. That intro to that first movie is so awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is pretty good too.
Everything related to Mordor begins collapsing, but not where the good men are. It can't collapse that far, which is pretty cool. But Gandalf is just like, oh, there's a tear
Yeah,
shed
because
because
then
there's an
there's this
explosion.
moment. Yeah, and this was another one of those moments, kind of like with the Mouth of Sauron, where there's this moment where the characters are uncertain of their fate because they see the side of this mountain blow up, and it's interesting. What's interesting is that this doesn't really amount to a ton. It's just a moment where they worry they might be dead, but it's so emotionally effective. I really love that part. Where it bursts and there's just like especially like Donna Monahan's reaction to it, because he's the one cheering. He's like, Frodo, and then that burst and then he just is jolted like, oh my gosh. There's just something about that really resonates with me.
Now they're on the side that didn't explode, right? I would think.
Well, it's not so much that it's I think they're lower than the explosion, because it's the upper part of the mountain that bursts, and that door is quite a bit lower.
Because that mountain, Mount St. Helens.
Yeah.
Big time.
I mean, they're probably on a different side of the explosion too. It's probably a combination of both. But yeah, it's like that. You see that burst, and you're like, "Holy crap!" They're screwed.
Yeah, like John Malama saying, from where the Aragorn was. Yeah, it looked like ain't nobody surviving that, unless you're on the other side of the mountain that didn't actually explode outward.
I lined up with the blackout cut.
Yeah, you did. That's the first fade to black, one of two.
So Samwise and Frodo have made it out, and they're just like, bro, I'm glad that I'm with you here at the end more than anyone else. Because again, they're ready to die at this point. And then we have a black screen, and it cuts to them on this rock with the lava flowing past them, and you see the light shining in the distance, and the eagles are coming.
Well,
finally.
one thing right before this, you don't have to scroll back or anything, but one thing I love about the dialogue exchange between Frodo and Sam is Frodo is content, in that moment, because the burden has been lifted from him. And I agree with you. He's content with the idea that if he dies, that's fine, because he can at least hang on to the memory. He's gotten those back. The veil's been lifted. But Sam's dialogue is kind of the opposite. His mind is on what could have been, and he still wants to live, because Frodo is, thinking on memories and how pleasant those are. Sam is thinking of, if I could have married somebody, it would have been Rosie. And he's thinking about what could have been. It shows he very much still wants to live. And it's almost a little bit of, foreshadowing in the dialogue for what comes here in about 20 or so minutes.
So Frodo wakes up in Gondor, and all of his friends are there, and they're all just kind of like laughing just for the sake of reminding us that there are good things and that, happiness.
You almost wonder if Frodo thought he woke up in heaven, because it's all white,
the lighting
and clean, and the lighting, and he's seeing Gandalf for the first time alive again, and he's all white and stuff. He's like, I almost wonder, it's like, did Frodo think he had died? And it's like, oh, it's heaven. Look, it's Gandalf, but he sees everyone else. Oh, did you all die too?
I never did leave from Rivendell, did I?
That background behind Eric, look how intricate that is. And how awesome
Oh yeah. So Aragorn is now finally being crowned the king of Gondor, and everyone is here. This ending, because we're at 3 hour 45, and the last hour, not hour, I would say the last 35 minutes of this movie in the extended cut really drags out.
I don't think it does at all, personally. I mean, because so number one, it's like the 4 hour 23 minute is a little deceptive. About 30 of those minutes, or maybe 23 are just the credits, because they thank everybody in the Lord of the Rings fan club, literally everybody. But I don't mind the length of the ending. For one thing, 20-minute endings are not that rare. And this is 11 hours of storytelling. They are giving you endings for a lot of characters, and I find them all pretty emotionally resonant. I love every single one of them. I mean, granted, it's one thing for an individual if it doesn't work, but I mean, as far as it being an actual criticism, I'm like, I don't think it's a really good criticism. Why would you want this long of a story with all of these characters? It's like, you really don't want to see anything about what happens to them after? That's a little odd.
Fuck you, Gord. I have a problem with it. There you go. I just want to go to bed. That's why. So as ever, so what's her name again? Arwen.
Arwen.
Arwen
Mhm.
she's alive and everything, and they kiss, and she's gonna be his queen. And the hobbits like go to bow to now King Aragorn, and he's just like, my friends, you bow to no one, and instead everyone bows to them, and it's just it's just
Here's the thing about this scene. If you saw how far back all the people go, there's no way the guys way in the back even know what's happening. They just know everyone's bowing, so they start doing it.
Hey,
following the crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
This-
There's no way they can hear what's being said.
I do remember the first time I watched. I went to the theater
I mean, look at
and
that.
saw
Look
this.
how the guys
People
way in
were
the back at that
yeah.
tip of that thing. They can't even see.
They're
They
just
have no idea
joining
what's
whatever the
happening.
crowd does. Whatever
Yep.
the crowd does. They don't realize like Aragorn could be given a Heil, a Heil speech, and they'd be like, oh yeah, cheer. But everyone else is cheering, so it's good.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing this in the theater, and when they said you bow to no one, everyone started bowing. Like there was quite a bit of cheering at my theater during that moment.
Oh.
Then
So
there's
now
this
they go
guy,
back.
yeah.
Yeah, they go back. Oh, there's Gord in the movie. He has a cameo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So they all go back to the Shire, and things are obviously different because now they've experienced life and ambition and all of this stuff, right?
And that's
Things
also
aren't.
Andy Serkis that has the pumpkin. The guy
Is
that
it?
plays Gollum. Yeah, that's him with the pumpkin.
Are you sure?
Look at it. Look at his face.
I
That's
don't
not
think that's
him.
him.
That's
I don't
not
think that's
him.
him. I don't
That's
think that's
totally
him.
him.
It looks a
No,
bit
I
like
don't
him,
think
but
that's
that's not
him.
him.
He looks similar. I don't think that's him.
I think that's supposed to be Fatty.
I don't think that's him.
Yeah, the character Fatty, what was his name? Either way, he was like the missing hobbit from the movies. He was supposed to be in the movies, but not.
Mhm. So Sam marries that girl that he was talking about on the rock, Rosie. He just takes the plunge. He's not shy anymore.
He went back to the Shire, but he didn't come back Shire.
I like that. I like
I
that.
think in the books they wind up having something like 15 kids or something.
Oh yeah, Sam gave her the full Gamgee.
Yep.
Dang. Wise the Nunner.
He's also, if you read his entry in this book, Sam has been elected mayor.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he goes on to be kind of rich.
Yeah, he becomes very rich, and he does eventually, because he was one of the ring bearers, because he held the ring for a short time.
Right,
He eventually gets to sail into the west and join Frodo and everyone else in Valinor. So he gets to sail to heaven with all the good people.
Technically he carried the ring for a time.
Mm-hmm.
This was a part I had to Google to understand, because I was a little bit confused. Like, why are they all? Because I thought he was going to die, and then like you explained, the people that had the ring, they kind of keep the power, and they're haunted by kind of its influence for years after. So they go to this place. What is it called again?
It's basically they're sailing to heaven. This is where all the elves have been sailing off to. So it's not merely ring bearers that are doing it, but ring bearers especially need to do this if they're still alive to do it, because it's kind of the only way they can heal. So it's basically Frodo is ultimately kind of dying.
So
but he's
I read
basically
it as
going to heaven.
Yeah, when I was reading it, it's not that they heal; it's that they can go and live in a place without pain for the rest of their lives and die peacefully.
Yeah, Elrond's first wife had to go there because she had got beaten up, tortured, and raped a bunch. So
wait, what?
Elrond's first wife, she was captured by orcs and tortured.
Are you joking right now, or did that actually happen?
No, that actually happened.
Oh wow!
Quite a tragic character. Almost all his family's been killed off. So
the other thing is it says that I will go into the west and diminish. The west has has a kind of meaning to I think like ancient European cultures and stuff like that, because that's where the sun sets. So it's kind of, you know what I mean, like why you put it in the story.
I think
got
part
you.
of the idea behind diminishing is because it's, you know, Valinor, like I said, is basically it's heaven, and the idea of going to heaven, you know, Tolkien being, you know, Roman Catholic, his idea of heaven pretty much similar to Christianity in that, you know, you're going to be with God in the Middle Earth lore. Basically, it's the name of God is Eru Iluvatar, and the idea of them diminishing basically is, you know, Galadriel obviously is a person of immense importance here, whereas, you know, in the light of Eru
Right.
Iluvatar
She'll
is just
just be
another
another
creation.
elf. Right. She'll
Yeah,
just be
another elf,
another
another
elf.
creation. So
Right.
it's like whatever stature you have in Middle Earth, that's not important anymore. You
It's
don't
kind of
take it
like
with you.
riding off into the sunset. I'm the
Right.
hero. I'm the cowboy. I'm the whatever, and then
On a
I'm going to
steel
ride
horse
off
I
into,
ride.
right. I'm going to ride off into the sunset and diminish and, you know, fade away basically.
Yeah, they don't need any Kool-Aid at all.
Mhm. And Sam goes back to the Shire, and he's got all of his kids and his hot wife, and
Yeah.
that's the end. Oh wow, I lined up with the end as well. Wow.
Well done.
Good
That's a
job.
very short title card of the end too. So well done.
Mhm, mhm.
We did it.
Yeah, we did it in like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we did.
Gord, you got some trivia for us.
I do. We'll start with the casting trivia because it's very, very brief. Because really, there's not technically, since we're doing the extended versions, any real new characters to go into, except for maybe I
Okay.
guess Gothmog, which we already talked about, who is played by him. But
Mhm.
because Denethor is more prominent in this, and because in the theatrical versions that is his initial introduction. Interesting little factoid was that John Rhys Davies, who obviously is Gimli, he originally auditioned for the role of Denethor, whereas John Noble, who plays Denethor, originally auditioned for the role of Saruman.
Hmm.
Already brought up the Peter Jackson doesn't like the Army of the Dead. King
Uh,
Theoden, go ahead.
Do you think he could have done a good Saruman?
I think he could have been. I mean,
I think
as
he could have
good
pulled it off.
as Christopher Lee. No, obviously not.
No.
But
But
I
he could
do
have pulled
think
it
he
off.
could have done a good one. I do. He's a great actor, and I think he's got a good look. So I think he could have pulled it off. King Theoden touching the spears of his soldiers before they charge into battle was Bernard Hill's idea. Cannoli keeps coming to me and Whitey with this idea, but we've thus far managed to ward him off. Andy Serkis and Elijah Wood were each given prop rings by Peter Jackson used in the movie. They both thought they had the only one. Let's see.
The one ring. Oh.
Yeah, there was more than one. Yet there can be only one. The last shot of principal photography was when the newly crowned Aragorn bows to the four hobbits. Although Viggo Mortensen did not need to be on set for that day, he nevertheless insisted on attending. He didn't have a crown. It wasn't necessary. He wasn't being filmed. So he fashioned one out of paper. With each successive take, the crown was becoming more ornate and sillier as crew members kept decorating it. So the four actors playing the hobbits often had difficulty suppressing their giggles.
Oh, I like that. That's cute.
I liked that. The final day of filming on the trilogy actually happened over a month after this movie was theatrically released, and 3 weeks after the 2004 Academy Awards. Sir Peter Jackson arranged to film one final shot of skulls on the floor in a tunnel of the Paths of the Dead, which was included in the extended edition DVD. He thought it was funny to be doing filming on a movie that had already won Best Picture.
I like that.
Yeah. This I thought ended up being an interesting and really funny piece of trivia, and I managed to confirm all of this.
Oh.
So unpleasant was Sir Peter Jackson's experience in dealing with Harvey and Bob Weinstein when the film was being developed at Miramax that their shared credit at the end of this film appears over a pencil sketch of a man fighting two oversized trolls. This is absolutely true. You can check the credits. It's not that far into it, but their credit is over a drawing over two oversized trolls. I thought that was hilarious. After Harvey was indicted for sexual misconduct in 2018, Jackson retrospectively called him a real bully who ruled through mafia thuggery and who would have probably taken the project away from Jackson and given it to Quentin Tarantino. He actually did threaten this, by the way. He also forbade Jackson from casting Mira Sorvino and Ashley Judd, who both later accused Weinstein of sexual assault.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Mhm. The Lord of the Rings trilogy became the most nominated film franchise in Academy Awards history with 30 nominations, surpassing the Godfather trilogy, which had 29, and the Star Wars film franchise with 21. Great caution was taken for the scene where Faramir is dragged back to Minas Tirith on his horse. The filmmakers were afraid the horse might suddenly bolt, dragging David Wenham behind it. So a release system was built into the saddle. Wenham held a handle in his right hand, and if the horse started to run, he could simply pull it and be released from the stirrup. Fortunately, they ended up not needing it.
Nice.
The movie made a 1,408% profit for New Line Cinema on their initial outlay, and Return of the King
Wow.
was the second billion-dollar movie ever made after Titanic.
Dang.
100,000 people lined the streets of Wellington, New Zealand for the world premiere. That's roughly 1/4 the size of the city's population. Elijah Wood was wrapped in... Oh, okay, I actually did this one where he joked about it being the world's largest condom. And then a little bit of statistical trivia, and this will be the last bit. Over 6 million feet of film was shot during production. 48,000 swords, axes, shields, and makeup prosthetics. 20,602 background actors were cast. 19,000 costumes were made by the wardrobe department. 10,000 crowd participants at a New Zealand cricket game who made orc army grunts. 2,400 behind-the-scenes crew members at the height of production. 1,600 pairs of prosthetic hobbit feet were created. 250 horses used in one scene. 180 computer visual effects artists employed. 114 total speaking roles. 100 real locations in New Zealand used for backdrops. 50 tailors, cobblers, designers, and others in the wardrobe department. 30 actors and actresses trained to speak fictional dialects and languages. And 7 total years of development for all 3 movies. And finally, the body count in Return of the King is 836 on-screen deaths, which to this day remains the highest in cinema history.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Do you have the box office? If not, I have it pulled up.
You can go ahead with it. I don't have it pulled up.
Okay, so this came out on December 19th officially, so we're almost on the anniversary, actually, of this movie, which is pretty crazy. That wasn't planned. It had a budget of $94 million. It killed this internationally. Most of the box office take home was internationally for a total of $1.1 billion.
Heck yeah.
This entry alone. It debuted at number 1. It came out the same day as Mona Lisa Smile. And some other movies that were in theater at the same time were Something's Gotta Give, The Last Samurai, Elf, and Bad Santa.
Nice.
I'm trying to see how long it stayed at number 1 domestically. Let's see. Okay, so it stayed at number 1 for 3 weeks. It knocked down to number 2 with the release of Big Fish.
Wow.
That's a
Interesting.
weird one. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Big Fish is a good movie, but I would not have anticipated that.
Yeah, me neither. Let's see if no, and then it drops to number 4 the following week. Lord of the Rings.
Though this being around the Christmas season, it definitely had major legs.
Oh yeah, well, 1.1 billion definitely. Oh yeah.
And you got to remember back then, like I said, $1 billion movie. The only one at the time was Titanic. Jurassic Park retroactively on re-release got there, but yeah, that was not a common thing the way it is now. And it was a while before there was a third one. It was a good while before there was another.
Yeah, I think the next, it was one of the Marvel ones that came up next, right?
Let's see. I'm not positive which one came third. I don't think it was a Marvel one necessarily, because I know The Dark Knight hit $1 billion before that, and it was also one of the early ones. Avatar,
obviously,
skyrocketing. Yeah. That was a big one. That was 2009. Let me see, real quick. Was it? Was it The Dark Knight? Let's see. There's Return of the King. Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest got there in 2006. That might have been the
Okay.
next one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Dead Man's Chest. I think Dead Man's Chest might have been the next one.
Okay.
I do remember them saying when the first movie came out, the Pirates of the Caribbean came out right before it while they were still in production. And when they had the moonlight where the crew would turn into skeletons and then get flesh in the moonlight, or
Yeah.
no, in the
So this
moonlight
was
they would look
so
like
this was the
skeletons.
sequel that hit $1 billion though. of
Right.
Pirates.
But what I'm saying is they saw that technology or how that went, and because they were going to do the Ghosts Army, and they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, holy crap! We wish we could have made ours look like that." You
Yeah.
know? Because they were so impressed by it. So I remember them because they came out roughly around the same time, like all three of the movies.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we'll go around and we'll give some final thoughts on this film and a rating. So we'll start with you, Shieldwall.
Obviously, a great film. Great speeches, very rousing. Like I said, I had some problems with a couple of minor things, like the rocks being too big to be catapulted, dude running too far, having to go so far on fire, and a couple of minor things. Also, it would have taken them forever, the orcs forever, to get up to that upper level if they were
True.
even mildly fighting their way through you could have hold that city forever. Anyway, but other than that, it's a great movie. I really like the stuff they did with the extended because you watch the theatrical and you want more. At least I did. And it gave you more. And then you watch the extended and I wanted more. So then I got like all the, watched another 12 hours of material, like everything they shot that they put into that documentary that they had. Anyways, I give it a 10 out of 10. Great movie. They're all three are 10 out of 10 movies. I just like the first one better because the combat is more grounded. It's not like, extravagant like weird elephants and guys doing backflips off of their trunks and stuff after they shot him in the head with an arrow. But but I really like it. It's a great story. I don't think that we've had a trilogy since then that's as even comes close.
Agreed.
And I would argue we probably didn't have a trilogy prior to that movie that was that good. I think their decision to concurrently shoot all three at the same time was one of the best decisions they could have ever made.
Agreed.
And I think that more big budget products and IPs should do that. Shoot consecutively so that you have everything together. The actors aren't like 50 trying to pretend like they're 30, or more like Stranger Things where they're supposed to be teenagers and now they're going to be like 30 by the time the next one's done. So they should do that more of the shoot everything concurrently kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Nice.
Yep.
Oh, so what? Oh, so this is a 10 out of 10 for you?
Yeah, 10 out of 10. All three of them are 10 out of 10.
All right, nice. Gord, what do you rate this movie?
Similarly, I do rate this a 10 out of 10. It's obviously not flawless, but I mean, like I've said a billion times before, 10 out of 10 to me is just noting that I consider this a masterpiece. I consider the trilogy as a whole as a masterpiece. If I'm judging, the three extended versions against each other, I would probably rate this second. After the Fellowship of the Ring. I think Fellowship of the Ring extended version has the fewest flaws by far. It is my favorite one. It's one of my favorite movies ever, period. But really the trilogy as a whole is just, it's absolutely brilliant. The payoffs are outstanding. The way it utilizes music, the way it looks, most of the special effects have aged remarkably well. The dialogue's great. The characters are all handled with excellent love and care. For whatever issues it has, they're very small, and plenty of other moments are beyond, are great beyond what I would have expected. So they make up for it. So yeah, this is a 10 out of 10. It's the greatest movie trilogy of all time. And if this is to be the best movie trilogy any of us ever get in our lifetimes, I am more than happy with that. I do wish that we would see other productions at the very least have the kind of love and care behind it that this did. But if they don't, at least we did get this.
Mm. Okay. Whitemus, final thoughts on our rating, please.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I don't know. I can only echo basically just what you said, which is I don't know that we'll ever see this again. Somebody pulling off a trilogy with that much care and that much dedication to those books and all that, to even to their own script. It's always going to be perfect to me. I mean, the only way it could have been any better is just if it was somehow even more extended. So I'm just gonna stay with giving this 10 out of 10 extended releases.
Okay. Hold on, sorry. Sorry. Okay.
You're all right.
As for myself, I give this. What do I want to use as my metric for ratings this time around? I'm gonna
what?
give. Sorry.
Sorry. What was the one before this? Was that Aragorn coming?
That was Aragorn coming out of Gord's ass. I thought she was gonna stay on board.
Wait. I didn't even see that.
I didn't see that either.
I was like, it looked like it was flying, and I was like, what? And then I was like, wait a second.
Wait a second. You became the meme. There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Because that's a pumpkin carved to look like somebody.
A gooch.
Oh yeah,
Oh man.
with a dangly bit.
Goatsy.
I'm
Don't go.
I'm gonna give this film 10 Sheilas out of 10. There you go. Yeah, I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan. This kind of fantasy is not usually a go-to for me either, but I quite enjoy the characters, the themes. The battle for Gondor is probably a top 3 best scenes in any movie I've ever seen as well. I guess maybe some minor issues I have specifically with the extended cut, which it doesn't really bring down the rating for me, is I personally feel like the last 30-40 minutes drag out a little bit much. I also think a lot of the stuff with Eowyn is unnecessary, even though I know it's fan service. That's really as far as my criticisms go. Music is gorgeous, cinematography is gorgeous, the acting is on point, the score is absolutely stunning, the sound design for the time is on point. The effects, like Gord mentioned, still very much hold up, and there is a ton of rewatch value here. As Max had said, every time you watch it, you pick up a little bit more. So, yeah, now we don't have any more Lord of the Rings movies to review unless we do the Hobbit films at this point. So,
Or Horror of the Wohiram.
oh yeah, or that, yeah. So thanks guys for joining us for this. We'll go around again and just anything you guys got coming up and where people can find you. Shield Wall, go ahead.
So I'm going to be on Roman of the Empire's channel on Thursday. We're going to be doing a Christmas special, and then I'm going to be on Jacob Ironside's channel tomorrow at 5 Pacific, and we're going to be doing a night. Remember the Night, a 1939 movie. So
Nice.
I haven't actually watched it yet, so I have to watch it tomorrow. But I've never seen it before, so I'm not really sure what it's about. But it's got Barbara Stanwyck in it, so
All right, nice.
yeah,
Very nice.
We'll see.
Yeah, go sub to Jacob if you guys already aren't. He has great content. He should be much bigger than he is, but who knows how YouTube works these days,
he
right?
reviews a lot of older movies that most people have never heard of or seen. Going, I think the earliest movie we've done right now is 1932 is the earliest, and then he might do something up into the 70s as the latest so far.
No, we've done later than that. We did the Lost World.
Yeah, we did Sleepy Hollow back in
Oh,
October.
that's right. Yeah, we did do Sleepy Hollow. Yeah, that's correct.
And he's done the Prestige. I know he's done that.
Yeah, we did the Prestige.
Recent movies are just a little more rare.
Yeah,
yes.
It's just I remember the older ones more.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've done a bunch of them. Anyway, it's a great channel. It's a great time, just like this one.
Oh,
So,
thanks, man. Thanks.
Thanks.
Gord, what you got coming up?
I have wrapped up my script on my Twilight video, so I will be recording and editing that in the coming days. I'm hoping to have that out next Wednesday. It's probably too long for me to get it done by this Wednesday because it's a decent number of pages. It's not, it doesn't look like it's going to be like super duper long necessarily, but it longer than normal, I would say. But looking forward to putting that out. And then, yeah, I guess streaming wise, I'll do a couple of Red Dead streams this week, and I'll be back for MMM next Monday.
We don't have MMM next
Well, I mean,
Monday.
not next Monday. No, that's a couple weeks from now. That's right. That's the last one. Never mind on that one.
It's all good, bro. It's all good. Whitey, what you got coming up? You started like a 50th channel, didn't you?
No,
Wait,
no,
what?
no new channels. I'm just anything art directed. I'm keeping on the Bear Clan channel, but I did start learning freaking Blender today, so pray for me.
Is that like a gay app?
Basically, but it's open source, so it's an open source gay app.
open source. What?
Open source?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to learn, but it helps you make things 3D, and used for a lot of games, used for movies, used for all kinds of things. So learning that is going to be super duper fun, as well as keeping up a few videos coming out here and there on the Bear Clan channel. So look at my Twitter at WhiteBearWhitey and the things in the chat, and you can find, it'll be pinned. It's the pinned comment on top, if you want to find the channel. So waka waka. Drop it
So
like
your
it's hot.
background stuff's going to get even more wild and crazy and
Yes.
3D and
I'm going to be able to ruin everyone's lives in 3D.
By the way, we did get a late super chat.
Yeah, I did. I was
Oh, okay.
Waylon for another $1.99 Vex. Watch The Great Silence. You know what? I just might this week because I don't know what I'm reviewing this Sunday on my channel for early morning Vexhibitionism. So maybe I will review The Great Silence.
Good movie. Good movie.
So what's what Waylon says as well, right? That's why he keeps wait. If I stop though, you'll stop paying super chats then to say this.
That's true.
So it's you've set up an expectation here now, Waylon. I don't know.
She's gonna look at her shelf or a digital library and be like, I could watch The Great Silence or get paid more super chats. We'll watch 310 to Yuma.
There you go.
Oh yeah, hey, really quick, loved it. Pointed out in chat. Good job, Vex. You've had to lead since Cannoli has Italian aid, so you done rocking. And also, these are like a bunch of movies that I think originally you had no big interest in, and then today when you messaged and said that you were crying, I was like, you get it.
Yeah, exactly.
I always understood it. It's just like I don't know. It's just my mind says like, oh, I gotta watch this, but then when I'm watching it, I'm really happy about it.
Of time.
Anytime I think you're forced to watch a long movie, it can feel like an assignment unless you really love it. Yeah.
You know what it's like? It's like when you first started playing Red Dead Redemption 2. You're like, who are these guys? Losers in the snow. Who's this Arthur dude? Where's John? And by the end, you're like, oh man.
Oh, why would you do this? Oh my god.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So it's just, yeah, I get it. It's just yeah, it's the time that really just does it. But yeah, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard on my channel. I live stream an hour and a half on something I watched that week. On the pre-recorded side, I'll have a Nosferatu retrospective video dropping before Christmas. Sometime.
Is that movie out yet?
No, retrospect. The original Nosferatu.
Oh, the original.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've seen a trailer for it, but.
Oh no, Christmas Day.
That means I'm gonna watch the original Nosferatu in the coming days.
Yeah.
So I haven't before, so I was waiting until the stream, but since we're not doing that, but we have the video to look forward to, I'm gonna watch that.
Have you seen the 2011 Dread movie?
Yes.
Movie? Okay.
Yeah, with Carl Urban.
Yeah,
with Carl Urban. For some reason, I don't know why I thought you hadn't seen it. Must be somebody else that I know that had seen it.
Probably Nadia.
Yeah, and you'd be like, bro, you gotta see it. But I saw the
She'll
96
hate
one
it
and
because she just like that.
I saw the 96 one and it sucks, so I'm not gonna watch this one. It was like, no, they're totally different. But anyway,
I got you. I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what's coming up on the channel for me. But yeah, this is the last MMM show of the year. Unfortunately, yeah, Cannoli couldn't be here with us, but hopefully he'll be back in the new year. I think we're back January 6th is when we're back, and we're doing Sicario.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We're doing Sicario on the day of the insurrection. Hey.
Oh wow! Oh my god, I didn't even
Wow.
realize that. Okay.
I've
Nice.
never actually seen that entire movie. I've only seen snippets.
Oh
of
my gosh,
It's
dude.
worth it.
Okay.
It's worth
yeah,
it.
Sicario.
Or maybe it was the second one. There's a
phenomenal.
second one, right?
There is.
There's a second one and it's not very good, but the first one, it's
Okay.
pretty masterful.
Mhm.
Jamma Llama's birthday.
Yeah. So
Nice.
everyone, thank you for a wonderful 2024 on MMM. We added Gord to the panel this year. We've met a lot more people that were able to
Mhm.
come on. We did some great movies. Cannoli hit 1,000 finally. It's been it's all around good year. You guys keep coming back as well, and we're truly grateful for all of you that just hang out with us, that stop by, that watch the replays, that leave super chats and comments. Like, you guys are top notch, and it's genuinely, it's a bright part of the day to see you guys come out and hang with us as we goof around and amateurly review movies. So
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
a lot of fun.
Oh, right.
yes.
And well, Nadia's, wow. Thank you for pointing that out. We reviewed Velocipaster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here. Highlights.
The best part of that review was watching Nadia suffer through it.
Mhm. There you go.
But her suffering
Yeah.
with my entertainment.
Highly
Um,
recommend watching that stream if you haven't already. Anyone
Yeah.
watching, but yeah,
Yeah.
The BVS stream. and we got
Because every
Nadia
new
stream.
scene was just another new pain for it was great. But hey, thanks for having me on so many times too. I mean, this is for Cannoli, and I hope he feels better.
we hope so too, dude. It's
Yeah.
it's always great having you on. Trust me, it's our pleasure more than it is yours. So don't even. I just get lost in the sauce when I book people. That's all. Because
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
yeah.
message like 30 people, and sometimes I forget. That's all.
Well, yeah, that's because Cannoli sent me this thing 2 weeks ago, and I was like, wait a second, what am I doing? And then I was like, oh yeah, I agreed to that. So
So yeah, again, thank you everyone for a wonderful 2024. Everyone have a merry Christmas. Stay safe, stay healthy, don't get more AIDS or whatever. Be grateful for everything that you have right now, and love everything that you have. Love everyone that you have around you this holiday season, and a happy new year. I hope everyone has an even greater 2025. But yeah, I guess dang, this is sad. I didn't want this to be our final show of the year, but it is
Yeah.
what it is. It is what it is. All right. Bye.
yeah,
Bye.
Merry Christmas and
Bye.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Autobots.